All right, everybody, it is Awestruck Comics Podcast, ready to go. This is episode 32. 32. Can you believe that?
I
32.
can't believe we spent this many weeks together.
I know. It's nice. It's nice. Nice,
It's
it's a
comforting.
way.
We're comforting. It's
Well,
like a warm hug.
look, it's hard to get, hard to get together. So it's just like a set aside thing. Kathy lets me have you for a couple hours and then, quietly complains in the background. No problem.
Yeah.
But let's get into plugs. But yeah, so Ultra's Comics Podcast, ready to go get the news of the week. News of the week. Let's get through the plugs. Let me do
Now, are you doing the Joe Casey thing? Are you going to keep your glasses on the whole show,
yeah.
or you just
No,
is that
I'm
your new thing?
keeping it. Yeah, it's new. And it's great. Um and the reason for that is that basically behind me I have my other desk set up, so which I have four
You
screens and I'm doing
you're pointing at a Jack Kirby image.
yeah, well, behind the fake green screen back there. So yes, because I spend probably 8 9 hours a day looking at that, and then I turn around and then work on this computer on editing or other stuff. So I got these glasses I bought with some Christmas money, and they're a lifesaver because I feel like I would get like optical migraines here and there, and now I do not.
But I like it because you are totally jacking off today. You got the Jack shirt on. You got the Jack
Oh,
background.
jacking off. That's
That's
what they
right.
say.
That's
That's what they say. So let me just switch out this real fast. Go to plugs.
I went with a Candor background today. Like here's Superman and Supergirl. This is
Oh yeah.
them
Is that a Chris
making.
Swan?
It's from Superman 338. So I believe so.
Could
I forget
be.
who inked it. I should have looked it up more, but it's cool. It's Candor growing like you used to do, which has
That's right.
been done a couple times. But
Hmm.
this is pre-crisis. And
Hmm.
then at the end of the story, they like punch Superman, and Superman's like, "Why are you punching me?" It's like you got to get out of here. You can't stay here. You have a universe to protect. So they get rid of him and Supergirl because they don't want them to stay on new. I think it's New Krypton,
Hmm.
and it's like phases in and out of like dimensions.
Hmm. I feel like they did a Candor trade. Does that sound right? They
The
did like a Tales of Candor or something
I,
like that. I feel like they did some type
I
of.
hope so. I love Candor.
Hmm.
I love the idea of Candor. I love I love when in the story of Superman Red, Superman Blue, that incredible Jerry Siegel story from 1963, they solve Kandor and they make new Krypton with Kandor expanded. And in All Star Superman, Superman couldn't figure out how to increase the size of Kandor, but he kind of just lets it. He opens up the bottle and kind of lets them take over Mars, but they're all tiny still. But it's still like a good idea. Like, yeah, have Mars. You can all survive. And they probably he didn't follow up that story, but it would be a great follow up to come
Maybe
if they
it's in
ever
that
do.
10 page. Maybe it's in that 10 page.
You tease me, Mark. You tease me.
We talk about every week. There's 10 pages of unproduced or unpublished rather.
Grant
Uh
Morrison, Frank Quitely, Superman. Whether it's All Star Superman or Superman kind of in continuity, we don't know, but
yeah.
we know it's there.
Yeah. We'll
And you
talk
know
about
what?
it in the news. There's
Will
some
we?
Superman stuff in the news.
All right,
Yeah,
we will.
we'll get to it. So this week on my Instagram, I had put up my little corner, corner. I have this is the only piece of original artwork I own, but it's a page from that Reckless graphic novel. And then right next to this little Chase, which is like right over here, actually, my little reading corner, and I posted it was my, I have a kind of a new. I've already been doing some of it where I put up my boards downstairs. So I have three boards. So I have like 50 some slots of comics I change out once a month or so. But this series, I'll call it Home Sweet Home, where I kind of specialize a specific thing. I'll run through this and I'll go through. I was texting someone yesterday. I was texting DeLuca and I filmed. He's like, what's up with your collection?" I said I was working on my collection. Well, let's go run through this. So this is kind of the best, even though in here, and this is what I don't understand, was designed by Sean Phillips, but like, couldn't he made him a little bit closer? It's just really weird. Like, there's no. This was the original Martini edition of Parker, which is all Darwin Cook,
Mhm.
and then but he did. That's They have a short story in here,
Right.
um, but I just don't know why it's and you have a V2 up here. It just seems like goofy.
Yeah,
I
I
would have
do
just had it the
prefer.
last call.
Yeah, I prefer hardcover series that kind of match. They look better on a shelf. Look at the way your two fatales there look back to
Yeah,
back. They look really good. I like that.
right.
You
And
know,
then I swapped out the criminals because the criminals I had volume one, volume two, the old version. So as
right?
and then when volume three came out, there was no option, but they reprinted volume one, volume two, and they changed the cover. And the covers of volume one, volume two are already covers to criminal comics. So it's not wasn't exclusive. It wasn't exclusive at the time. But this goes through, and I even put Batman Gotham Noir. It would be kind of cool to get an extra. I know that they reprinted Gotham Noir in like one of those like 5.99. Man, I'm trying to think what they used to be called because they had some of them where they had it was just like a little mini run or a reprint or something like that. And because the Batman Gotham Noir like scan I have is not from that book. It's from like the extra edition they put out a couple years ago. But I should get that extra edition put in. There's a Batman Bruce Wayne murderer issue. There is a Hawkman issue. Like just thinking about like just make a little. Maybe I should get like a little mini Ed Brubaker. There's a Hawk, yeah, the Hawkman issue. I think there's one more. I think I'm missing one more. It might have only been that, so maybe it's not that big. But yeah, we talked about hardcovers last week when we talked about Rob Liefeld and what should be done with all the Deadpool bad blood, badder blood. But so this is basically in order. There's all the Reckless. There's Night Fever, Where the Body. Did you read Where the Body Was?
Yes. Yeah, I'm caught up on all my Brubaker stuff.
And then I just took close up pictures of the artwork itself. So from what I understand, it seems he does blue line, scans it in,
So he pencils it
letters.
small. You
No, no,
think?
no.
You
I,
think
I think he, I think he,
or
I think he
digitally?
thumbnails it.
Okay, right.
Because I've seen the thumbnails. I think he thumbnails it's probably on the iPad. But then he might print that out or use it as a guide. So this is on a board, but you can tell that basically it was fed back into the printer,
Hmm.
and then all the lettering is blocked out blue line, and then he puts the lettering in, and then it prints it out, and then inks over top. So that's pretty cool because that's printed lettering. So it's cool. It's a combination. What's kind of lost in a lot of the new artwork is that everything's digital, digital lettering. So unless you do like your own overlay, whatever you're going to buy, I guess you could do an overlay like a transparency and maybe half put the opacity. I'm thinking like in Photoshop terms, right? You put the
Right.
opacity at 50% or something like that, so you can see the artwork underneath. But I think this is kind of neat, as it basically it prints out, and then he may or may not like he's not going to go over the hair, right? He has it blocked out for that. Pretty neat. So this is just stuff that So having that in there. We'll jump back to my video in a sec, but here's your plugs. We got
Plug number
Chap
one.
Yep,
Yes, on my ex Twitter page, Rob Messick, just Rob Messick. It is not Rob Messick 76. That is my Instagram.
Instagram.
Um, we're up to, like I said, we're doing a Youngblood cover a day, and we're up to the Youngblood yearbook number one, which is a really nice Chap Yap cover.
First is the
Um,
first Chap Yep.
First Chap Yap cover. He had a pinup
Chap Yep,
published,
baby.
which actually he got hired from. I think it was a Brigade pinup.
Mm,
So he's one of those guys went up to Liefeld at a convention, showed him his art, and got hired. Liefeld's like, hop over the table,
wow.
and got hired on the spot. So and this is nice. It's Mickey inks.
Oh yeah, yeah. Because
So
Miki was Danny Miki, the anchor. He was kind of put around. Was he one of the ones they were fighting over? There was a few artists that they were fighting. People,
well, Danny
image
Miki
creators were fighting
worked
over.
at a comic store.
Okay.
Danny Miki worked at a comic store. So did and John Sybil worked at that same comic store, I believe. And they're both
Mm,
trying to get in as pencilers. Liefeld saw their talent. It's like, yeah, I want you to be my inker. Like you're phenomenal at inking. And he
mm.
started inking, I think, parts of Youngblood number three.
Oh, okay.
And then Youngblood number four just feels like a different comic because Miki inked the entirety of the issue, minus like the faces, whatever, or hair. Liefeld likes to ink his own faces and hair a lot.
Right, right, right.
Um, and it's printed on different paper. Like it's just everything about, and it feels darker. Youngblood 4 is an interesting book if you really, because back then you and I would obsess over Image Comics and we would read each Image comic 10, 20 times.
Well,
You
yeah,
know,
everyone
we
looked different. One to two looked different.
one to two looked different, two to three looked similar, but everything was so bright. I feel like there was more white backgrounds, and I think it's a different colors too with number 4.
Hmm.
1, 2, and 3 are Brian Murray,
Right.
and
Is it
4
for
might
like
be
Paul Mounts or
or
something?
Kiko, somebody I forget who.
Yeah.
You think I would know this better?
Awestruck Corrections Department. I'm saying Paul Mounts.
Okay.
Paul
It
Mounts.
does have that dark Paul Mounts feel. Um, so yeah, so this is mine. This is my first account,
So
and this is
then
where we're up to.
after this, Chap Yep went and did Youngblood 5 flip book with
Correct.
Brigade 4.
Yeah. Brigade number 4 / Youngblood number 5 finished out the Youngblood miniseries. That's Paul Mounts. I can
That's
tell you
Paul
that much
Mounts.
right now. That's very dark.
Yeah.
But it's very cool. It's very creepy. There's some really good shots in that. But then when Liefeld collected the Youngblood series, he had them all recolored 1 through 4, and he opted to do his own ending to the book, which is slightly different. Him and Joe Casey came up with the same ending, but
Yeah.
like Liefeld drew it.
Well, there was a solicit for that, but they didn't have any cover or anything that they're going to reprint that.
Yeah, I don't know
They're,
if you were saving that for the whatever. Yeah, they're doing
yeah.
Youngblood. I forget what they called it, but they're redoing Youngblood 1, and I hope that it's recolored because even though I like the colors on the 2012 edition,
Mm-hmm.
he has incredible colors now. Like the colorist Liefeld
Yeah.
finds for
Yeah.
his books are just top notch. And if you're going to recolor Youngblood 1 with someone who does his books now, that thing's going to look incredible.
Well, I guess if he's going to get into doing the Youngblood, what technical Youngblood issue is going to come out when he puts it out? Do we know yet?
But I mean, it's just going to be a new number 1.
New number 1. It's going to be
But
legacy. Get some
legacy
legacy numbering.
numbering, it'd be close to 78,
Do you count
80,
Strike
89.
File?
If you count, yes. In the legacy numbering, they did it back in 2012. I'm sorry, that recoloring that they did was like 2008. The
Hmm.
2012 relaunch of Extreme, when you had Brandon Graham doing Prophet, Joe Keating, and Sophie Campbell doing Glory,
Oh yeah.
they decided to legacy number all the Extreme books, which was neat. They're a little bit sketchy. Some are more sketchy than others, but the Youngblood one, they never came out and said what it was, but it is Youngblood Volume 1, 2, 3, 4. It is Team Youngblood and Youngblood Strike File, and there's a couple of things that are questionable. I don't know if they left opening for like the unpublished Alan Moore Youngbloods, or if they put in like Youngblood Genesis. I don't think they did any of that.
Hmm.
So this Youngblood yearbook,
Tough one.
however, is not part of that numbering.
Yeah, it
And
should be part of the number. That's
I had
more
an
part of the
idea.
numbering
How
than,
much?
say, Strike File.
Yeah. Oh no,
Strike
I
File's
agree with
like
you.
Tales of the Teen Titans, basically.
I
Sort
agree with you. I agree with you. It should just be Youngblood proper and Team Youngblood. You can throw Team Youngblood in there. It's still
Yeah.
Youngblood.
Yeah.
I had an idea for Youngblood yearbooks. I wanted to pitch it to Liefeld. Where like you do a Youngblood yearbook every year. Just do it, whether you hire new people or you can tell old stories that were never completed. And then I said, you know what? You could put like Youngblood yearbook 2025 come out this year. But then in December, maybe put out Youngblood yearbook 1996, and you finish
Mhm.
off the story that Eric Stevenson and Robert Cruz did, or Roger Cruz did, or you do
Right.
Youngblood annual, 2006, and you finish up Joe Casey's story, like Youngblood Imperial yearbook, and you finish out that Kirkman miniseries.
Yeah, it's tough to see. We'll see how all the publishing will shake out. Here's your Extreme. Was it
My
Diodato?
That's right,
Or no,
Maximum
that's
Supreme.
Amir.
This is part of the Supreme Apocalypse storyline, and I think this is Diodato. They say it's Diodato, it's Amir Ribeiro or Carlos Moda drew the issue, but they don't say who did what.
Yeah.
So
Berserkers.
2 days
Glory.
ago, I put the cover in. I sent that to you. This is actually a Glory issue, and it's a really nice Mike
Oh,
Diodato cover, and Diodato liked it. You got to hashtag these people. So like, hey, we're showing them that we appreciate their work.
oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
it's
man.
always cool when someone like Norm Ratman inked a bunch of stuff, and he always likes everything I put up. And this is just to show that like I don't just do Youngblood stuff. I do find other things. If I find something funny, I'm just going to post it. Watch me eat this family
Oh my
because
God.
he's a bear, Mark.
That's frightening. That's frightening.
I know.
They have a lot of animal sins too. They got a squirrel and a thing.
That's right.
Um, so let's jump over to our phones. How fun is this? I'm gonna drop in the video. So I was texting with DeLuca yesterday, and
Who has his own series of podcasts?
yes, so he is AKA
Actually,
Pad
he is more popular than us by three or
by a
four
lot.
people.
No,
Yeah,
I think a lot more than that. But he's
he's
got
been doing it for a
video
while.
podcasts. Yeah, he's been I don't know how many years.
You
I
know
was
what's
on some of them
crazy?
before.
You've been friends with Pete for a while, and Pete's a good artist. Like him and I worked together, not together, but we both did stuff in that Darkest Image book.
Mhm.
And Pete, like you've been friends with him, and you've always talked about him. And then like something just kind of hit me with his name, and I looked him up, and he like we went to high school together. And I'm
Right.
like, it kind of
Yeah.
pisses me off because I'm like, man, I went to high school with a kid who loves comics as much as I do. Like,
Mhm.
I should have been friends with this guy when we were like 15, 16 years old, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't really, it was like a secret club, man. We weren't, it wasn't until there was shops and the culture of the shop that I
Yeah, but
worked at. That's
I was
more of the
out. I was out and proud in high school. I was
mm,
wearing my McFarlane Spider-Man shirt, my Liefeld X-Force shirt, you know? Like, I wore it like a badge of honor because
mm.
I didn't care. I didn't care what people thought. Plus, like, I was like really good looking and like in shape. So, like,
Plus I was really good.
I was like the
So I could get
weirdest.
away with it. It's
I
no
could get
big deal.
away
I
with
can get
it,
away
dude.
with it.
No, I
Oh,
was
that's
like,
funny.
I was good. I was good in high school. But
Yeah.
like, so like, and it's so funny. There's a picture of me. I have it still. If I can find it, I'll send it to you.
My
It's
God.
me, and I got my baggy button fly jeans on. I got a red and black flannel, and
Button your fly.
I'm wearing Danny DeVito penguin shirt. You know, it's just like I wish I had that shirt still. It's so cool looking.
Oh
It's
my
like a
God.
drawing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I sent him a quick video because he's like, we were texting back and forth. He's like, what are you doing? I said, oh, I just rearranged my collection. He's like, what do you mean? And then I filmed it. So this is we'll run it. Ready? You got it? Here we go. So 1 minute 24. So I kind of blow through them kind of
Cool.
fast. I just wanted to kind of show them the enormity of it. The first box I have Art Adams, second box Chaikin. Now I'm looking at uh, Kelly Jones, Ladron, Art of Homage Studios, a Jim Lee section. There's a Magnolia section, chronological. So the thing with this whole situation is I have the artists or people that I follow
Right.
as the Lost Years that covers only on that. Again, I'm just kind of grabbing stuff. There you go. There's Youngblood Baby. That's Steve
There we
Skroce. I
go.
might have that in order. I just got that run at Final Boss, the X-Men War Bart Sears run. There's a Silvestri section, Slacker Comics, baby. There's a Texiera
Our
section.
our friend.
Yep. There's a Lee Weeks section. Wrightson, Mike Zeck, Bruce Zick, and then goes into all my stuff. There's my Conans. Whoop. My Conan collection. Pretty big, man. Look at that. All by pretty much for a
Yeah,
dollar.
that is a brown box.
John Carter. Boom. Killraven, baby.
We need more of it.
Tarzan. That Sword and Sorcery is a lot of Chaikin. There's Severins, Frank Thorne. There was Christar back there if you saw it. My Marvel UK, baby. Yeah. My complete Marvel UK run. Death's Woo. Death's 2. And I got my Master of Kung Fu's, Micronauts, and that's it. And that was my stress ball. That's it.
Gotcha.
So good times. But yeah, but that's been taking up some time because now I'm kind of rearranging stuff. And it's hard. There's a handful of books that I'm having a lot of trouble with. God Wheel having a lot of trouble. I don't know where I'm going to put it. Death Made Black. I know you said I should just have a spot where I just have like things, like where like
Things like
multiple
it's like
artists or
you just
whatever.
call it the oddball. Like I have
Yeah.
a folder on my computer, just called oddball. And if it's like it doesn't belong somewhere, you put it in
Mhm.
oddball. You know.
Yeah, I mean it's shit. I mean the way I find these books, like over the years, like what was it? Excalibur Heir Apparent? Is that right? That
Right.
was like their annual.
Is that the one with Eric Larson?
Yeah, so I have Eric Larson, it's Eric Larson, and then there's Leonardi's. I think is also in that one. So I
You
have
know
two
who
of
was supposed
those.
to be in that? Sam Keith.
Ugh.
I know.
Um, and then there was the other one, which is Excalibur Special Edition #2 or something. That was Madwera. So I have that in Madwera, but I
Yeah.
think there's something else in there that could go somewhere else. But yeah, Godwheel is I guess from Stephen Butler. You have Madwera. You have
Yeah.
Gary Frank, I
Gary
think.
Frank.
So yeah, so you have a lot of stuff that I can kind
Godwheel
of put.
for those who forget is the Malibu crossover that slowly introduced them to the Marvel Universe. I think Thor
Mhm.
shows up and it's supposed to be a big surprise. You're like, what? Thor in a Malibu comic?
Right, right, right. Not that much of a surprise.
Hey, did you
So
know? And I got to confirm this with Liefeld, but like apparently Malibu was going to do Youngblood first in the 1980s, but then
mhm.
Megaton's like, we'll do it, because you're already kind of working for us. And Malibu's, kind of
Mhm.
weird. And then it's funny because he ends up publishing Youngblood through Malibu. Image is done through Malibu Comics in the
Right, right,
90s.
right,
So
right.
I just found that interesting. Liefeld was really pitching Youngblood, and I have some pictures I should send you of like Liefeld really loved Teen Titans, and he had these two Teen Titan pitches, and both of them have like Youngblood esque characters on the team. Sentinel's literally on one of the Teen Titan teams that he just created,
Oh,
like a
really?
Titans West or Titans East.
That's awesome.
Pretty neat stuff. Like he was obsessed. Like in the early '80s, he was obsessed with Teen Titans and Legion of Superheroes. You know,
Yeah,
so
but I find it interesting that like those ideas held, Dragon held, Spawn, yeah, Spawn kind of held. You know what I mean? It didn't really seem it was very, very fully formed, the Spawn 77 stuff that I've seen,
no,
So
it was a Star Wars book. It was like a space buccaneer with his buccaneer boots and his.
figure he would have done that, you know.
I wanted to. I'm always
They're supposed to
if
do
I
one,
love
right?
something.
They're supposed to do a 77. I think Mark Spears is supposed to do it, which is
All right.
cool because I haven't seen Mark Spears. I don't know. He's drawn for stuff for like Keen Spot and drawn for and there's I think he does his own
Did he
book,
did
Mark
he
Spears
just do a
Monsters.
variant for Spawn?
He did a
Like a
Gunslinger Spawn,
gunslinger spare. All right.
yeah, this week, yeah, too. Yeah, his color. I like the coloring. It's a little Dayglow. It's paintery like an Alex Ross, but it's not. But it's a little tighter like Matina. But I don't know. It's good. But I like the
See,
coloring on it. I like all the
I
color
always wanted to
combinations he
do a
does.
book. I always wanted to do a book. I loved McFarlane's Total Chaos line. It was his first
Hmm.
not it was like his first McFarlane toys that wasn't based around Spawn. And he had like this big rhino guy and like a weird
Oh
alien
yeah.
chick. And I'm
Which
like,
we think a lot of those designs are like Capullo art, right? Like a lot of
could
that
be.
stuff
But
we see
like,
kind of
give me
work.
that. Give me that comic. He has a character named Sweat who shows up as a pinup in Image Zero. He's just like this James Hetfield looking handlebar mustache, long hair look guy.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, give me that comic because that character
Right.
was created in the 70s along with Blood, who turned into Tremor.
Mm.
And I think the woman's name was Tears. Like, give me Blood, Sweat, and Tears. Like, they were your 1970s,
Jesus.
80s. They
It's
go
so
along with your
stupid.
early Spawn.
Right, right, right. Maybe it'll be
You
in
know,
77. Maybe
I
Spirit,
I hope so. I hope
Yeah.
so.
I don't know. I'm mad that Rat City is not that good. I like the Gunslinger Spawn spin-off, but I think all the other stuff I haven't really been able to attach myself to. And there's even more
Dude,
coming. There's like two or three more new series coming out now. Are going to be coming out. So
we'll talk about it later, but Gunslinger Spawn, the new Palmiotti series, just feels like
it's great.
it should be a movie already.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
listen,
so
it's
yeah.
really good though. It is really good. I wouldn't mind it as like an AMC show or something because I really like
No, it
the
really
town
works
stuff
like
they did in this week. So
yeah. All right, we'll
all right.
talk about that later.
Yeah. Let me.
What else we got? Anything else? Is
Let
that it for our
That's it for plugs. We'll be right back. I'm gonna get the news up. So here we go. I'm actually probably just be able to cut this. I figured out a way I can cut.
also you can check out our Facebook page, Awestruck Comics. Nothing related to the podcast, just old comic strips that are funny, a little racy, a little dirty. Um, and we try to be funny. I don't know. It might offend you. It might not
Who knows? These days, right? Who
these
knows?
days, right? No, I think people are coming back to like, even though I feel like woke stuff is important sometimes, also like, eh, you don't have to be that careful anymore. You have to be conscientious. You don't want to mess with people, but like, it's okay to be funny.
Whoa.
This is
All right,
great.
we'll kick it off.
These are
Dynamite Wacky
solicitations.
Races. Yeah, yeah, I could just have a kind of a mixed bag. It was a pretty interesting week. Got some solicits in here.
All right.
Wacky Races, this is under, I guess, the Hanna-Barbera license, right? You got Muttley right there. Very,
Right,
very
Dasher
funny.
Lee Muttley,
Uh,
and a beautiful Linsner cover, who just it's almost exclusively does Dynamite covers. And you know what? I don't mind.
they always nail it. Yeah, it's always
He
nailed.
does.
It's
And you know
always
what?
nailed,
It's nice to
period.
change it up. Like, yes, he draws a perfect Red Sonja. Yes, he draws a perfect Vampirella. But usually it's like a pose. Like, I kind of would like them to do something.
Mhm.
He's a great pose artist. But doing something like this, it's different. It's neat. I dig it.
Yeah, so I don't know who this artist is. Mariano Benitez Chapo. But
Chapo. That's what
Looks
he's doing
good
from
though.
jail.
That's cool. I mean, that just looks like kind of looks like the newish Speed Racer. You know, you
I
got the
know.
trick
You
stuff, and
you're
I
hardcore
love
about the
that.
Speed Racer movie.
Yes,
Um, and I don't blame you. It's a good movie. I don't think I liked it the first time I watched it. It's like I liked it, but like didn't like it. But then when I rewatched it,
I
I
saw it by
enjoyed it a lot more.
myself. I saw it by myself in the Washington Township, uh, whatever was down there.
I've
United Artists.
never seen a movie by myself.
Oh, I've
I
seen
just
lots
can't.
by myself.
It just
Very
seems sad.
lonely.
I know. It just
That's
seems sad.
correct.
Like to me, going to a movie is like an event. It's my friends. It's my daughter.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah. I've seen a lot of art films that no one wants to see, so I get that. I get. I'll get into that. So there's a Robert Hack who has he did a good amount of art. He did a lot of work for Archie. He did, and so he kind of did the style over there where it was, like a weathered, stickers, all this type of stuff.
mm,
But I think that this is pretty cool. Fast
it
and
works out good
Furious.
for this book.
Yeah, this looks really cool. He'd worked on Sabrina. That's right, the Sabrina. So not bad. There's a Linsner. Yeah, so three covers. So Galman does get, or yeah, when Galman, Robert
The
Hack.
artist gets his own cover. Oh no,
No, I thought it was at
no,
first. No,
no, that's
nope,
not him. That's not Chapo.
no. That's all right. But
That's fine.
still, really, really good. This is coming out in April, I believe. Boom. All right, so
Yeah, cool.
some Marvel solicits. Um, these are all one shots, right? So you got, Doug and Camuncoli. Okay, that's pretty good. And then so Godzilla versus Hulk one shots from Marvel coming out, and it seems like, and I just don't know. I don't know what's happening on the inside. I'm hoping that because these seem to be different era Godzillas. So Godzilla Hulk is a Doug and Camuncoli, and then Godzilla Spider-Man Joe Kelly. Maybe this is what he's writing. I'm not sure, right? So that's a pretty cool.
So,
That
so this look cool.
is
That's a neat looking Godzilla. That's very, I guess, I like his eye. Very creepy.
that is that's like a Godzilla versus like Mothra era. Uh, this is actually it's weird. That's a Nick Bradshaw, right? Yeah. So that's a Nick Bradshaw, but he's drawing with Jet Jaguar. So I don't know if that's going to be that's a different. That was Return of Megalon. So Godzilla nor Jet Jaguar were even in that title. So most people don't realize that. Now these covers are kind of weird. They're doing these, like fight poster covers, right? But I feel like this is super, super traced. And this is Lee Garbett, and Lee Garbett's a very, very good artist and capable artist. So I don't know, but I feel like this is just a Photoshop trace. That feels like a McGinnis Photoshop trace, and we'll get to the other one.
Yeah,
So there's
that's
the
cool.
Bradshaw. So this is the actual artist, but that looks more like almost like modern with or closer to modern Godzilla. Not really sure. I also don't know what the licensing is for that and IDW, because
Yeah,
IDW has the Godzilla license and they have a ton of different stuff they're doing this year. So that's fine. Listen, more Godzilla stuff for me, no problem. Here's our Greg Land. I only put this in there because we wanted to complain about it. Really, it's a very it's just a very uninspired Spider-Man, and the Godzilla is just very all of it's just somewhat uninspired. It's just muddy, You gotta work this
yeah.
out.
It's obviously it's a lot of work, and he's a fine penciler. It just doesn't like excite me in a way. I don't know if it's, I hate to say like he's known for finding poses. Like it's fine to find poses. Like are these both copied from something though?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. He excited me the most when he did Sojourn for CrossGen. I
Mhm.
really feel like he did a good job then. I don't
He
know.
was
He's a
probably
fine artist.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I remember he did the original Nightwing mini before the McDaniel. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
I
Oh
think
yeah.
that I think
He
that's right.
did Birds of Prey, right? Before
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Um, but see, I feel like okay, so yeah, I mean, really texture-wise, I feel like Lee Garbett's basically doing a texture on. Geez, that seems almost like a Millennium Era. I'm not really sure, but what is that? That is super close to a Larsen, right?
yeah.
Maybe not exactly, but it just seems so
Or
close.
it
It
looks
could.
also looks his back looks very Ed McGinnis-y.
Yeah. Larceny McGinnis. I mean, it could be that it is not, but the Godzillas look really super traced, so I guess it's okay. Listen. So Dan Slott, Mark Waid, Straczynski, Alan Davis, Chip Zdarsky. So everyone that's ever really worked on this Fantastic Four fanfare. I do like that the logo that they're using the Marvel Fanfare logo, but this logo is the Fantastic Four movie logo. So they're kind of combining the two. Actually, I don't really like it now I'm looking at it. I like they're using the bottom, but I feel like
Yeah,
they should
yeah,
just match the top or so they're playing with I guess Marvel Fanfare, and that's a Matteo Scalera cover actually, which is pretty cool. A negative space Matteo Scalera cover.
I would like that.
So
Who's who's drawing with Mark Waid? Mark Waid was on a maybe word balloon, and Dino shows up, and he's like, "Oh, I want to work with you, Mark Waid." He's like, "I'd love to do this FF," and he's like, contact Marvel, and maybe you can write, maybe you can draw my story for this." It's just
who
kind of
was
a
it?
weird, like,
Dean Haspiel?
yeah, Dean Haspiel,
Oh, okay. Well,
Dino,
yeah, Dean Haspiel, big fan of mine actually. We'll just mention that he liked the comic because I did this one like comic thing at this expo and it was handed around and then he read it and he actually got it over to I think he got it over to Brisniak because he used to work Dean Haspiel used to work under Howard Chaykin,
yeah,
knew Ken Brisniak, and I know that it got over to Ken Brisniak apparently because when I saw Dean Haspiel again a year or two later. But anyway, yeah. So, well, this says it's Ramon Rosanas who has that that is Leonardo Romero or Leandro Romero, Chris Omni style. So
right,
that's
right, that's
fine.
fine.
Alan
That's good.
Davis. Yeah, so that's a more of pranks between Human Torch and Thing. Funny Alan Davis under deep under Earth's surface. Give me more any Alan Davis. Alan Davis inking himself. We've talked about that last year. It's a different Alan Davis. It actually kind of harkens back to like Captain Britain Alan Davis, like
Right.
1979, Alan Davis. Um, but his work on Avengers last year, that Paul Levitz, and I wish it was successful because I would have liked them to maybe even do like an X-Men book or something, do have Levitz, and because that Levitz was good Levitz. It was good.
It was good Levitts.
That was a good mini.
Brent Levitts.
And let's see, so Andrew Wheeler, Sarah Pacelli. I don't know Andrew Wheeler's May 7th. When's FF coming out?
July 25th.
This should be out. This should be out in February. Come on, man. You should have 4 of these out before that and have a
No,
trailer.
you don't want
Doesn't
to put
matter.
this out before you get a trailer. And I think, are we getting a teaser during a Super Bowl? Maybe.
It's possible.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's possible.
More Mark Waid news. There's the triple gate fold for the crossover, which is giving me excitedness. So we are yesterday, 6 issues. So I guess 3 and 3 doesn't really say. It says JL World's Finest, JLU 6, and an annual. Now the annual is exciting because the annual, if you haven't seen it, it is there we go. Clayton Henry back on Superman. Look at that Superman face. We'll get into that later. Superman, that's
Right.
Superman right
That's a
there.
good Superman.
It's a good
John Stewart.
Now, I guess the only thing that's confusing is that, let me see if it's right. Yeah, okay. So looking at this, so the World's Finest Batman, the Dan
Right.
Mora World's Finest Batman has the Batman 89 symbol, all right? Whereas this Dan Mora Batman is current Batman, which is Jorge Jimenez Batman. Okay.
You know what? You know what I don't like about this is like, is it a spoiler to see Lex Luthor looking evil, or is he not?
Um,
Like,
hmm.
does the
Well,
story take place in the past?
yeah, I mean that's what I'm
Okay.
thinking because like
I mean, the
uh,
title itself lends to the idea that it's taken place in the past.
right. Yeah, I don't think I'm pretty locked down. There's Nightwing. I can't really see who's back there. Um, yeah, so I think it's pretty locked down that you're going to have this amnesiac Lex Luthor right now for a bit,
You know, I like
based on
Amnesiac Lex
Superman.
Luthor. You know, they
It's a
every once in a while
convenient
they'll
story.
do
Listen,
this.
it was a convenient story plug when we go in reviews day. It's fine to have an amnesiac Lex Luthor, and then all of a sudden like and then he comes up with something.
I
Um,
remember Amnesiac Sabretooth after Wolverine lobotomized him.
oh yeah,
You know, Bone Claw Wolverine lobotomized Sabretooth, and he's like good for a little bit. You know, the first time he was good. The
yeah,
funny
yeah,
thing
yeah.
about Sabretooth is he really works well as a good character. He's also
Mhm.
like the meanest character too. I don't know. It's funny. I'm just
Yeah,
a big
we're
Sabretooth
not
fan.
happy with Sabretooth. I don't think that they've handled Sabretooth correctly. So,
No. Oh,
um,
don't
don't
even
get
get
me
me
started.
started.
Don't get me started. I'll have to find a clip of that and just drop that. And that's such a funny Molly Shannon bit where she played basically almost like a Rosie O'Donnell comedian-esque with like a mullet and like a brick
Right.
backdrop at a comedy show and with the cord and everything, and that was her catchphrase. She said this it was something very broad and go, oh God, don't get me
Yeah.
started. Don't even get me started. So
It just works.
yeah, Summer Superman special. It's funny. It seems like the art that it's three writers, slot. So slot this I don't know if this is before. No, this is after Free Comic Day is supposed to come out.
All
Or
right. So
I
you're
don't know.
talking
I
about
can't
the
really
Summer of
tell.
Superman special.
Yeah, DC announced
Okay.
Summer Superman special one shot that, it's Slott, Wade, and Williamson, but it's all Jorge Jimenez in the interior. Other things, which I'll get into some of the art in a second. Superman Day. So we're doing like a Batman Day, basically special editions. All Star Superman, Deluxe Superman, All
Hold
Star
on.
Superman,
Let's not jump too far ahead
Deluxe
because they mentioned
Superman
this is the
Day.
summer of Superman. They want to have
Yeah.
a Superman summer, which I am totally down for. Okay. They've already talked about the Superman of the World graphic novel, having people from all around the world do Superman stories. We've talked about Superman Unlimited, the new series by Dan Slott,
Mhm.
right? So now we're getting the Superman special, which comes out April 16th, 2 days before April 18th, which is the anniversary of when Action Comics #1 hit the newsstands.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Do you know what
Mhm.
I love about April 18th?
Mhm.
That is my daughter's birthday. So
Oh.
me, being a super hardcore Superman fan, super hardcore, I name her Kal-El, which is like kind of like a girl version of Kal-El.
Mhm.
And her birthday is April 18th. I didn't like make we didn't make that day her birthday. Like she was supposed to come a couple days later, and it's just like, all right, here she comes.
No,
So to me,
you
it's like
secretly
really
induced your wife.
I secretly induced, we
You gave her some
there's ways
spicy
to do that.
food or
Right,
something.
right.
Yeah.
I just
Oh
never
my
mind. I'm not
God.
going to say what I was about to say.
Yeah.
I
Let's just go
helped I
spicy
helped
food.
I helped bring it on. No.
Sure.
Um my wife's like, you wish.
Oh my God.
But it's too funny. Yeah, so I had a daughter born
You still have
on
her.
she's still around. Thank God, knock on wood.
She's still
So
around. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is she around? I don't know. She's in her room so often. You don't know if she lives here
You
anymore.
don't know. I only know if there's music playing. That's the only way I know
There's
they're home.
music. And you know what's
So
great? She loves the music that I love. So it's like, thank God.
yeah,
I hear like
my
Green Day or
daughter's
Nirvana blasting out of her room, and I'm like, I raised her
right.
right.
Yeah, it's tough because I'll have music on my speakers over there, and then like she's right below, so I have to like turn my music down because like it's just competing. It sounds like no, like junk. Um, all right,
So
so here
all
we
right, so
go.
I'm excited. So hold on, so I'm excited about that book. What is you
Yeah.
still talking about it? Because we didn't
No,
talk
I
about
just yeah,
what
it's
else we got
48.
down here.
You got a bunch of covers, which seems fine, and then I think I have some. I might have some covers, but this the stuff that they're reprinting, I think, is where they're doing Superman Year One, the Frank Miller JRJR. They're reprinting that. They're doing Superman Unchained Deluxe. Like Unchained feels like a different continuity. It doesn't That was the
Unchained, was
Snyder.
that the Jim Lee Snyder?
Yeah, it was Jim Lee
Do,
Snyder.
do you know where they messed up on that bookmark? I
It's
love
called
this. I love
Unchained.
no Superman Chained. It's a fine title for a new series. Honestly, it is. It's better than Unlimited.
Hmm.
Plus, it's just so synonymous of Superman breaking his chains. I mean, DC's using that as their new animated opening to their DC
Yeah,
movies.
right, right, right.
Okay, so part of the story that is there's another alien who has Superman type powers in that story, and he both befriends Superman because we have similar powers, and then they end up being enemies. He's working for the government. So I'm like, wait a minute, you're telling me you have a character who has Superman level powers in a book drawn by Jim Lee, and you don't make him Mr. Majestic?
I see.
Like,
Right,
you missed it. That's Jim Lee's Superman archetype, which they've done nothing with. You know,
right. They folded
like
them in. They did nothing with
they
them.
did a Majestic story pre 52 that worked out really good. It established that the Wildstorm universe was a separate Earth, and he came to the DC Earth for a while. It was kind of neat. Mr. Majestic wasn't even a great character until Alan Moore wrote him.
Shocker.
Shocker, shocker. And
He's writing
then
the
he
Superman
became.
archetype well.
I know,
What?
right? God, nobody does Superman archetypes better. And he has his own Superman archetype, which we'll like never see a comic of.
Mm.
You know about that, right?
I
He
don't
has a
know.
character called Thunderman, which is funny because when I was a kid, I had a character called Thunderman, and he started creating him for the sequel to the 1963 miniseries
Mm.
for Image. This is spiraling out of control here, but it's all Superman related. So he did 1963, which is his pastiche Marvel characters. The follow-up was going to be a 1963 DC pastiche miniseries. And his Superman character he had for that was called Thunderman. Now, what's cool is he utilized some of that Thunderman ideas for Supreme.
Mhm.
Like he just changed stuff around and used some of it for Supreme, but he still has that Thunderman character. And like 6 years ago, he was going to do an image book called Superworld, where it was just going to be him and Rick Veitch doing a crazy archetype filled world of characters, and he was going to bring Thunderman back. But both 60s Thunderman and Golden Age Thunderman, like, and it's a shame this book doesn't happen because that literally would have been Alan Moore's last superhero comic, and it didn't happen. If I were a billionaire, I would be like, I don't care, Alan Moore. Here's $1 million an issue. Like, do this book. Give me that Alan Moore
He'll be
Thunderman.
like, I don't want it. Give it to the artist. It'll
Rob,
be.
I really retired from comics. Oh shit, that is a lot of money.
I don't need another castle. I don't need more stacks of things in my room. Um,
Listen, everyone's got a price, and you know what?
yeah.
Alan Moore's 70 years old. So at this
Mm.
point, you got to be like, well, I can just help my daughters out. Remember a couple of years ago, I think one of his daughters got sick, and I don't know what that was about because they have universal health care over there. Maybe just like missing work and stuff. They have a good system over there for like unemployment and so their version of Social Security, and they have their universal health care. So it's easier to be your own creator because you don't have to worry about healthcare. You don't have to worry about that. Here in
Mm.
America, it's like I have to work. I gotta have healthcare, and it only covers so much. You know,
Right, right, right.
they just have it. It's less stressful, and then they live longer because of it. Anyway,
Hmm.
let's get off universal healthcare and my rants
There
about
you go. You
politics
love
and stick with
healthcare.
Superman. I do, and I have
um,
good healthcare. I'm a union worker. Still could be better. Everything could be better.
mhm, that's true.
So we're getting reprints of All Star Superman. It's a special edition, so that's not facsimile edition.
It just
Um,
says, yeah, I don't know.
that could mean a chromium cover, could mean a new cover. You know,
Yeah, I can't really tell what it says. It says, including All-Star Superman Deluxe Superman Day Edition, a hardcover with a new dust jacket featuring art by Frank Wiley. So I don't know.
all right.
Superman Unchained Day, Superman Day. So they're doing kind of almost like deluxe editions of that, I guess. They're doing kind of recent reprints. But they are making the Action Comics Golden Age. Uh, they should just have two covers. That they should just have that facsimile and then a facsimile Dan Mora.
Yeah.
So I don't think they should.
Is
They
is
probably
that,
will. They love it. You know.
and it's going to be Golden Age size, which is interesting
Yeah.
because that's slightly bigger than modern day comics.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
hope it's
So.
printed on cool paper. Like, don't give me glossy paper. Give me that. Give me that.
Yeah, I feel like they do okay with the facsimile editions. I feel like that I hope they match it. You know, I don't know if they're going to match it exactly. So this was the official announcement for the world. So it is officially, uh, Dan Jurgens Lee Weeks. Which I have, I believe, the cover. So there's the cover for the Summer of Superman special. Summer of Superman special. So who is that? All right, what do we
I
got
said,
here?
that's
Zod.
Jorge, right?
Yeah, Jorge Jimenez. So I sent this to you because I think even I think the body structure looks a lot like we look at so much Dan Moore Superman in reviews day this week. So we'll kind of talk about that. But I seem to have a trouble with Dan Moore's face of Superman. I can't really get on it, but I love this Superman.
And I'm
I
just
like
kind
the
of looking
S.
past it because I like so much else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
All right.
And then this is Superman 25.
Okay.
So kind of a bit of everything. I don't know. Well, that's the new-ish character. Is that Baroness? It looks like Baroness.
Does
And I
look like
guess this is,
Baroness.
well, look, I guess Perry White wins. There you go.
Yeah.
You know, there you go. There's a cool Brad Walker cover.
This is a really cool cover.
Yeah,
I love this era of Superman.
yeah. I don't know. I'm so confused how Brad Walker had like an amazing Aquaman run, an amazing Detective Comics run, and it's like there's no heat on it. Like there's no like he should just have a book. I don't understand. He seems very consistent. He never seemed to be
He,
late. You know.
you know
I
what?
wonder
I
what they're
wouldn't
doing with
mind
the
him on.
coloring here. Look at this. It looks like that's a real.
Yeah,
Looks
it's
like
weird.
it's cut. It's cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
I hope. You know, I would love Brad Walker on Action Comics. Like when Action Comics finally settles down and gives us like a good writer, good team. Like I don't know if Action Comics is going to be Legends of the Dark Knight forever, but
Yeah,
when they
right,
do
right, right.
find that perfect writer, and I don't know who that writer is, Mark Miller, um, it would be great to have a good artist like Brad Walker. Who's this? Who did this cover? This is
That's Lee.
nice.
Yeah, it's Lee Weeks. It almost I'm not sure who colored it, but it feels like Elizabeth Brightwaite or something like that, or Elizabeth Brightweiser, I guess, but I don't think it is. But yeah, really good, really good cover. Marvel solicits this week, so Chris Giarrusso,
Right.
um, who did stuff in Savage Dragon, and then he has his own web strip, G-Man. What's
Which
his
is
big?
really good. Larson puts
Yeah,
sometimes they'll collect a bunch of them and put them in the back of Savage Dragon.
and
They're
he had mini
funny.
Marvels, right?
Yeah, he
He
had
had.
mini Marvels,
Mhm.
and he's a nice guy. I like him.
Yeah,
I should go back and reread all his G-Man stuff because every time it comes out, I really do enjoy it. But I just never sat down and read like everything. That's a
yeah.
that's a
I think
it's
there's
an
a ton.
endeavor.
I think on his web, I think there's like a ton. So I don't know if this is exact. I'm not sure if this is like character for character. I'm not exactly sure.
Meaning he just went over the various covers and
Yeah.
chose the
I think
yeah. I
so
don't know,
because
maybe.
see, because that's the Spider-Man I know. That's the Spider-Man waving.
Right,
I know
right.
that
It seems
for
like it.
sure. So maybe. I mean, listen,
I
it's
love that
cool.
like the Squadron Supremes there. Like give me more Hyperion, Power Princess, Spectrum,
Yeah, it's
Arcana.
really cool.
I forget her name.
I don't
I love
remember,
it.
but this week
Starfox.
this was announced. Now we get to see a little bit of it. So,
Right. We had heard
you
about
know,
it. I had heard
yeah.
about
So this
it.
is Daredevil: Cold Day in Hell 3-issue miniseries. I don't like so it has a variant cover by Frank Miller that was not posted. So I wonder that's probably I imagine new because then they say hidden gem variant by John Romita Jr., which is hilarious because John Romita Jr. draws the current Daredevil covers and really so they're just going to grab an old picture or whatever.
It
You
would
know,
probably be better. Not trying
they
to
should
shit on
take the
modern JRJR, but like there's some
no,
really good old JRJR covers for Daredevil.
yeah, I think that even if you, well, the hidden gems, I mean, they're doing hidden gems, they're doing pinups, they're doing,
Whatever
Marvel,
they can find.
like, yeah, and that's fine, that's fine. So yeah, so as an old man Matt, you know, skinny, seems to still be. So McNiven, the last time we talked about this when that was originally announced, we are McNiven has kind of changed his style over and over again after he left. Most recently, it seems to be more of like in a Barry Windsor Smith vein.
But with this,
But
he might be staring at a lot of Frank Miller. So if we get a '80s Frank Miller Barry Windsor Smith mix, that's only
mm,
good. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, or even like a Jeff Darrow. Like it seems to be a little bit like detaily. There's
right?
another one. Yeah, Man Thing.
I love Man Thing. I love a
That's
good Man
great.
Thing.
Giant size Man Thing. Who is
That's
this?
right.
Who's that?
I don't know. Is that Angar the Screamer? Oh no, who you talking about? The guy on the little sled?
Yeah. Looks like he has like an ultimate nullifier too. I don't know. I gotta look at the run. You got Makari there. There's an X-Men one. I don't know what order they're going in. I don't know what order they're going in. I know it all connects though. I know that because I've seen.
I mean, yeah, this connects to the page before.
Yeah,
What's the guy up top? Is that Shrike? Killer Shrike?
Killer Shrike.
Only
That
awesome to us because McFarlane drew him.
Yeah, that's
Like
it. And
wouldn't care about him otherwise, but McFarlane drew him, so he's awesome.
yeah. So just like really fun. X-Force I put in for two reasons. Number one, they have a hidden gem in here, but we've been liking this. So the main story, Jeff Thorne writing the main story, Marcus Toe cover. But I threw this in here because I guess this is an anniversary issue. But I threw it in because essentially, I guess they're just keeping the team now that I look at this cover and they have them kind of, I guess, dot matrixed out back there. So you have the two eras of X Force. So you have the Liefeld era, and then you have the Uncanny X Force, the
Right. The
Remender.
Clayton Crane, yeah, Revender.
Yeah, which
And then
was good. And
it
then
was
the
good
new X
if
Force
at the time.
with long hair, very long hair Forge there. Very long hair. Very good.
Well, it matches the very long hair Psylocke.
Yeah, that's good. But this was a pinup in
Was it the first X Force annual?
X Force Annual, I believe. Yeah.
This is
And
great.
then
This is a old school Andy
that's Adam.
Adam? Oh, it's Adam.
Yeah. It's Adam, but
Um,
it's not pronounced. It's not as heavy Adam as normal.
no, it's
Like
not what Adam
it's
becomes within a year.
yeah,
That Ghost Rider era at Kubert Brothers were still finding their own at this point.
yeah.
But
That's another hidden gem that'll probably guaranteed to be hundreds of dollars on eBay with a
listen,
month or two out.
that
Maybe not.
that Liefeld one's still going for 150. It's actually started to go up more because people, what? I didn't know he was doing a cover.
Yeah, I hate it. Yeah, so all new Venom. So first off, we did not like the all new Venom number one like at all, and apparently number two
But
was
it looked
on
good. I think I like the
NBC.
art.
Did you see that the guy who works in Manioc as the Giant Destructo, the man that comic book store manager was on NBC 10 because the second issue of All New Venom they have this character running through because they go through Philadelphia and he's throwing a cheesesteak and it's Gritty, but his name's not Gritty. I'll pop it in
All right.
there, but like I just find it strange that you go five issues in and then you know then you say who Venom is. Like you know what I mean? It's like not even the end of issue one. I don't know. It just seems very. I don't think it's strong enough, like that you can carry five issues through. I also can't really
I
tell
liked it.
because,
I
uh,
like it because it says spoiler variant, but then it has suspect variants A, B, and C, and D. So you're gonna have
right?
like 10 covers to this comic.
Yeah, exactly. And then by TBA. First off, there should be no TBA at this point.
I do hate TVA.
TVA. Yeah, TBA is
That's
no
fine.
good.
Give me a TVA cover. No, I like this Erik Larsen cover. It's so weird.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
well. I mean, that's the thing is that to me, that's not like I don't know. It's less larceny because I want him less larceny. I want him to be bigger. I want him bigger. Give me that big Venom. Give it to me.
you know what?
So
I hope he does a you know what I want? Do an homage of like any of his Venom covers, like the one where he's holding Spider-Man's skull.
yeah,
I always love that cover.
yeah. But
No,
he's drawn the teeth are a bit different. I do like the Venom design. I like the gold. I think that I think it's Carlos Gomez drawing the main one, right? Yeah, Carlos Gomez. I think the interiors on one were really good. I just didn't care for the story. I haven't liked Al Ewing stuff. I don't know. I don't remember. I guess Hulk. But I haven't really liked any of that stuff. So,
Al Ewing does write a good Cable. Like he just
um,
has his voice down well in his head.
yeah, this
But
book. So, good. I'm sorry.
no, that was it. Just continuing. So go on.
A Time of Strife. So I put this in for you because it's got a Strife cover.
That's right.
You got two. You got that's a Salvador LaRocca variant there. This is Deadpool Wolverine 4, Ian Churchill cover. So this is Joshua Cassara main cover, Ian Churchill cover. Pretty cool.
I
Uh,
wish Marvel would get it right because Strife is a clone of Cable, so he shouldn't have the scars. I think originally
Give him the
Liefeld
scar.
had Strife. Right, give him the scars, but he doesn't. He's the clone, so he should be perfect.
No way. Scars.
However, when Liefeld first had him show up, he had the scars. I think
Hmm.
Liefeld originally wasn't going to have him be a clone. I think it was just going to be Cable further along in the future.
Mm,
Either Cable was coming back to the past to fix his Strife, or Strife was there to mess up his Cable. I think he was
I
going to
see.
be just another. I don't think he was meant to be a clone at first. Actually, Mark, the helmet looks like it has the scars. So maybe he was wearing a helmet when he got scarred.
Yeah,
That's
give me
neat.
that helmet. Yeah, I don't know. I like
It's a
Cassara,
good
but
cover.
the scars aren't on the
He probably
uh
needs some kind of guard against that, some sort of scars guard.
scars guard. I don't
Scars
care
guard would play. Nah, what am I saying? I was going to say he'd make a great Strife, but you just need Josh Brolin as Strife.
any scars guard. Get
Scars
any
guards
of them.
need more Scars guard in the Marvel universe.
Yeah, any of
I
them.
mean, Alex Skarsgård was almost Hawkman in the Black Adam movie.
Oh, is that true? Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's a nice
Um,
Mark Brooks cover for Spider Gwen, the
yeah,
Ghost
this
Spider.
I put it in because well, the cover's great. I like the retro of it, but here's the thing. This is the first Mark Brooks cover I think I've seen in a while that isn't brown. I feel like all his crap has been like this like weird shade of brown. So
Yeah, when
him
he started,
leaning more back to this, I think, is way better. And
yeah,
doing more
certain,
lines. His stuff was too soft.
you know, when artists color themselves, it's always weird for a while. I didn't like Brandon Peterson's colors; it was too dark.
Mm,
Even quietly, when he started coloring himself, it was too many gradients and shading and too dark.
mm.
I don't know, but you're right. So this looks good. It's different.
Looks great.
I
But
do
like
I do agree with you.
But put something here. I mean, I imagine it's not the full trade dress yet, but I think when he turns it in, I think what's cool about it is I think he's turning it in with all the elements in this, right? He's probably turning it in the way he wants it. But, give me some type of fake comics code there. Give me something.
They
Give me
might.
something. Give me something. There's another Chris Giarrusso. Because they were all in all these other books where the main stories weren't good enough. So I was like, I'm just popping them in. Pop them in. Okay, so this is Marvel Premiere Collection. So these are new collections I haven't seen yet. These are here to compete. The reason I dropped this in here is I think that this is the right price point. Actually, let's do math because I love math. Right? Here we
Okay.
go. We're gonna do math on some of these solicits because the solicits these weeks were just kind of bizarre to me.
Because the people
Right?
sitting there listening to this are like, yeah, give us some math.
They love math. So this is really great because this is the Fantastic Four Marvel Premiere Collection Solve Everything, which is the first two storylines of Hickman, right? The
Right.
best Hickman, the best Hickman, the
Yeah.
best Hickman to this day, period, hands down. His run I think is really solid through Johnny's death, and I think after that it kind of meanders a little bit. But I love it through Johnny's death. Spoilers, but he's back. Who cares? But yeah, through Johnny's death was because I remember, I think we were talking about it at the time when they had the issues where it was leading up, someone was dying. Every issue seemed like that person's dying. It was tense. Every issue, like, oh, things dying this way. Oh, nope. Okay. All right. Well, she's, I think, trying to think because Sue goes to Namor's lair and you think he's going to kill her or something. Like, it just seemed there's so
Is that
many
where she becomes
times where
like,
they did
doesn't she
fake
become like
outs.
an Atlantean queen or
Yeah,
something?
she becomes like
She's
a
put in
queen.
charge.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
it's
know
like,
all these other undersea. I think Hickman tried to write this book like it was written by Alan Moore. I think he's like, what would Alan Moore do? And honestly, I do the same thing. If Alan Moore were to write Fantastic Four, what would he do with it? And I feel like that's how he wrote this book. I mean, he right away he brings in the what is it called? The Gathering of Reeds.
the Council of Reeds.
The Council of Reeds, which is straight up like kind of like the Supremacy. It's a
Mm,
neat idea. And I think they're going with that in the FF movie. No spoiler, non-spoiler, because we don't know.
right.
So, but if they do the Council of Reeds in a movie, you better have Alex Hyde White. You know,
And you can have so the Council of Reeds basically is you would go into like another practical like dimension Reed Richards, and then there would be multiple Reed Richards where
right from
they're
all the dimensions.
yeah, and they're just on chalkboards writing stuff. So there's a ton of stuff, a ton of Easter eggs and stuff in there. But when we're saying that in the movie, now that everything is multiversa, there's been multiple actors. So you have Alex Hyde White, you have Eowyn Griffin,
Oh yeah,
you can
Owen Griffin,
have that's right,
Miles
it's called
Teller,
Owen, Miles Teller,
and John Krasinski,
yeah, Johnny Cracks. So
and
so
Alex Hyde White from the Roger Corman FF movie.
all right, so I'm going to get the reason I want to do the math on these lists. I'm just kind of curious, like what pound for pound in this. So this is a 6 by, I think I put the size of it,
You know what would be the
six
best
by
mark?
nine, six
The
by
best
nine.
Easter egg, the best Easter egg for the Council Reads would be to have one that's like a brain in a jar, which would go back to like an early FF. What if the FF all had different powers? Remember that one?
Mhm.
Or like I think Johnny's called like Mandroid. He's got like robot arms, and
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
Ben Grimm's got like dragon wings. Or even better, if Reed has any of the powers of the other FF. Remember that Jim Valentino what if? What if the FF all had same powers?
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
That would be awesome too. You know what's cool in that? Tangent. Um, when all of the Fantastic Four members have powers of the Thing, the tragedy is Sue turns into Man Thing. Ben Grimm's the same, but Reed Richards turns into a version of the Brute, which on one Marvel Universe book, Reed Richards becomes like president of the United States, but he becomes a Hulk-like creature called I think it was called the Brute, right?
Hmm.
He's big and
Yeah,
purple. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah. The Brute,
Was it the Brute?
the Brute was
I don't know.
in Strange Tales. It was in like a later Strange Tales.
Was it Strange Tales?
Hmm.
I think it was in like 2 issues at least.
That's when
So
they had a lot of like just throwing stuff out there at the very end of the Strange Tales. So this is trying to compete. What is this called? Marvel Premiere. Different than Marvel. I think they have Marvel Finest also. So they have uh like three different lines, which is not great because if they're going to do a Fantastic Four Epic Collection, but the Fantastic Four Epic Collection will basically be probably 20 to 25 issues, and then it'll be $30, $40. So they don't have that yet. They don't have a FF
Is this
Epic Collection
is
Modern
this
yet.
smaller?
6x9, yeah. So 6x9
Okay,
is
so
going to
it's
be not
smaller.
quite digest. I don't think it's. I think it's a little bigger. I think it's as big as the new Masterworks. So it's a little bigger than the compact editions. The compact editions I was looking through recently, I don't think they're not. Again, we know they're not for us. Even if I just want to grab it, I was looking at the Catwoman one.
Yeah, but
I was
this
like,
is smaller than a regular comic, 6x9, right?
yeah,
Comics are 8.5 by 11.
yeah.
So is this as big as the DC books they're doing?
It's a little bigger. Yeah, that DC compact. It's a little bigger than the compact.
Okay,
It's meant to compete with the compacts are 9.99, and they seem to be 9.99 consistently. Whether it's 300 pages or like almost like 500 pages. Like they seem to be 9.99. Like 9.99 for New Frontier, right? Like it's
right,
like
right.
you can buy like a $30 trade for New Frontier. You can buy an absolute for $100, or you can buy one for $10. But you want to see that
And honestly,
bigger.
these are meant for kids because their eyes can read this better than
Yeah,
our eyes.
yeah. This is the Philip Tan variant for Daredevil that's coming out. So they're using this. It's funny. What's weird is that I don't know, and this is the problem with the Daredevil uh, comic book and solicits, is that the interiors were Aaron Cooter, very minimal. I think there might be one or two Aaron Cooters. The variant cover by Philip Tan. I don't know this guy, Jose Luis Suarez. Great, but like I don't know. And I
Right.
didn't even put the JRJR cover in this because it just made me crazy. It just made me crazy. So,
No, why would you have JR when you have the Daredevil gray costume,
but
right?
I really like, yeah, but I think this looks great. Phil Tan,
Yeah,
excellent,
Philip Tan's awesome. We love Philip Tan. From
excellent,
his
excellent,
wonky
excellent.
Uncanny X-Men to his Spawn run to his Orange Lantern designs, because he designed all the Orange Lanterns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But see, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about that all the '90s stuff is back. Do this, embrace that. At the time, it wasn't. People didn't like this. He was in this for 30 issues. I think people were derided by this a little bit. I always liked it. I have no problem with it. But I feel like
I have no
at a
problem
certain
with it.
point, it became cool to be '90s backlash. So that's not cool.
What's
Wouldn't be
wrong?
a week
I like
without.
'90s backlash. We need more backlash. Fred
Yeah,
Booth, Wildstorm.
backlash.
No, yeah, '90s backlash was always stupid. People love it, and then when you bring it back now, because we're the last generation of true comic collectors,
Mm.
uh, comic collecting is always going to continue. It's just going to keep changing. But we're that last generation of like obsessive.
Yeah,
So appeal to us.
yeah,
That's what
yeah.
they're. If you want to sell comics, you got to appeal to us.
To us, just us.
Otherwise, it's just going to be young adult graphic novels. Is the current future we're trending towards.
Maybe, unfortunately, yes.
Well, that's why these compact editions they go right in line with all the books my girls. That's the girls. That's the books my girls like. That's the way the books people like.
Mm,
You want to get the people growing up on Captain Underpants and Dogman, and you
right.
want to try to get them before
Graduate up.
manga gets them. Yeah. So,
Mm.
all
Wouldn't
right.
be a Yeah, it wouldn't be a
When
week without us talking about James Gunn. So this is our first picture of the Supergirl. So we get the
yes,
back of Supergirl's head with a hoodie. I don't know if does she have a hoodie in that? I don't know. And then I got this and I zoomed in there. I'll have to blow that up a little bit, but I was trying to get I cropped out the symbol to see how different it
yeah,
is from the symbol from like the Superman symbol. It seems to be a little bit different. Still kind of the Alex Ross symbol,
right.
So I wonder how he feels about that. I wonder how he feels like that his symbol is just out. It's just out there. I mean, it's complimentary, but that's I don't know. I can't. Every time we talk about it, it's like, oh, that's Alex Ross's symbol, right? We don't say that's Superman's Kingdom Come Superman. We almost say Alex Ross or Kingdom Come Superman. We don't reference it anywhere else. We don't talk about it because it isn't anywhere else really. They've done some future stuff with it, but not really.
Right.
Or they're too Reverend Alex Ross. They have Alex Ross touch it, like when they had the JSA crossover. Alex Ross did his own art. That was his experiment, which I thought was good. That
Yeah,
was when he
I
was
like it.
doing like pencils to. They did some type of coloring. I don't know if it was Dave Stewart, but I just threw this up. Yeah, this is again. This is SH Figure Arts, which are mainly over in Japan. You can still get them at
Right,
some toy shows and stuff like that, but
right.
$84. So they're doing the cartoon basically of Spider-Man Noir, and there was a couple really good pics of Spider-Man Noir, and Peter Porker. And Peter Porker had
Yeah.
2 or 3 different heads, like a ton of different things.
Peter Porker's awesome looking. Like, do you want this just for the Peter Porker?
I don't because that's not my Peter Porker. There is a
Not my Peter
uh,
Porker.
not hashtag not my Peter Porker. No, there is a Peter Porker action figure that's our Peter Porker.
Who's your favorite Peter Porker artist?
Um,
Well, maybe there's only a couple of them. You got Fred
yeah,
Hembeck, who probably did the best stories.
the
Milton
best
Knight did a
stories, but
little bit of it.
mhm.
I'm a big fan of Milton Knight. He did a lot of work for Cracked Magazine in the late '80s. I think he
I mean,
did some Mighty Mouse work too.
feel like there's Joe or Jose Delbo
Right, right.
and Armstrong. I'm trying to think of the guy, Steve Armstrong. I think that's what his name. Whoever did the cover to the first one, I forget exactly who that is. I forget, the main, not the first one. The first one I got, which was like number 9. I have it over there,
You know,
but I'm not.
Mark, we forget that they're actively working on a Spider-Man Noir TV show.
I think it's
Like
done. I think it's
it's
shot.
done being
Yeah,
filmed. Yeah, it's
right.
so we're just waiting on that. I'm like, oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. I
Yeah,
just
that
forget.
might be the saving grace of the Sony verse. The Sony canceled Spider Verse, basically.
Yeah. Do you think Spider Ham's going to show up the last episode? Like, come on, we got to go to the Spider Verse movie. Like,
Maybe.
because this Spider-Man Noir show is in
Yeah.
continuity with the Spider Verse cartoon movies, right?
Right. Yeah. It
Wasn't
is.
that kind
Yeah.
of the point?
Yeah.
So
Nicolas
that's
Cage.
interesting. Nicolas Cage, dude.
Nicolas Cage. Yes. There's a couple picks of that. I don't know if you saw these are this is Super 7 Thundercats Ultimates Cruncher.
Yeah. They are just
Nada.
going for every character possible on Thundercats. You know what? I'm
Yeah.
all for it.
Yeah. They got 2 heads. Not too many hands. A lot of hands. But still a lot. You don't need a good flamethrower. But
So
yeah.
what are these characters' names, just so we can tell the people? Do you
It
remember
is
offhand?
Cruncher,
Right?
Nada, and Safari Joe. This is because they were on Third Earth, right? Or they were on
Yeah,
I
they were
forget
on
what.
Third
Yeah,
Earth.
yeah.
They were.
Uh, but I guess this steampunk thing looks like I like this group shot. This group shot's really fun.
That's fun. Keep it going, dude. I love the attention Thundercats is getting. We got a good comic. They eventually want to do a live action movie. Did you ever see the CG proof of concept movie somebody made?
Hmm. Yeah,
It's pretty good.
it's
It's
pretty
pretty
good.
neat. And
I
this,
don't know if you
yeah,
saw these. These are the
I did.
Master Universe Thundercats crossover. I like the
I
Battle
love
Cat as
I
Thundercat.
love that
Like
they
I
can
think
do
that's
this. I
yeah,
love that like we don't I forget who owns Thundercats, but it's like not I don't know who owns Thundercats, but I don't think it's anyone big. I don't know if that toy company that originally made them. I want to say Galoob, but it's not Galoob.
mhm.
I don't know if they got bought up by another company, like Kenner got bought up by Hasbro. So I
Right, right,
don't
right.
remember who originally did Thundercats, but the fact that they're doing these crossovers now with Mattel, there's something interesting going on because we got the Turtles He-Man crossover, and
Hmm.
Turtles is Playmates? No, not Playmates.
Hmm. I think it's
And
Playmates.
okay,
Yeah, or it was Playmates.
so I don't know if the two toy companies make a deal or Mattel reaches out to Paramount, who owns Turtles now. It's like, hey, we want to do this crossover. Okay, you know, and
Yeah,
now
the
they, so I wonder if this is the same thing. Like, why is Mattel doing Transformers Hot Wheels when Hasbro owns Matchbox? Mind you,
right, right,
Hot
right.
Wheels has always been the better collected toy. So I guess they're just like, hey, we want to do an Optimus Prime,
Is there a
and they're doing.
Matchbox right now? Is there a Matchbox
Are
Cars? I
they?
feel like
Are
there's
they?
only Hot Wheels.
I don't know, Mark.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a great question. Is it just not worth it for them to do Matchbox anymore? I don't know. It's such a brand
Possible.
though. It's weird. You hear the rumor Disney wants to buy Hasbro?
I hope not.
No. So yeah, these are cool. Like you said, Battle Cat. They actually made a Thundercat Battle Cat. That's
I
pretty
love that. That's
awesome.
the one if I had to buy any of these, that's the one I would buy. Hands down. Hands down. I would buy that. Yeah, and I guess they're split retail because it seems like the middle 3 are 19.99, then the 2 big guys seem to be more accessories, but I like the headdress. And I do like that the Lino is similar to uh that the toy Lino head, whereas I
Yeah.
feel like when they're doing the ultimates they're doing color, they're doing cartoon style. So I do like that, but seem to be, these are a little bit bigger. The Mumra is really big. So that's really fun. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I'll take it
Uh,
too.
DC solicits. So here we go. We got we already put the Hush thing. I grabbed this one for you. There's the Michael Cho variant.
I love it.
Um, yeah, that's excellent. So, and the other covers look okay. I guess it's a
Right.
gag
What's
cover.
what's the what's the gag cover?
It's a
Oh, the
Joe Quinones, like I guess they put
it's like
uh
the way
clown.
Batman looked in 1989.
Yeah, but this was the first time I think we've seen Simone Bianchi in a bit, right? We haven't really heard, and that's just a Jeff Loeb phone call, I suppose, because Jeff Loeb did that Wolverine run with Simone Bianchi.
He did two runs with him because he went back and did a sequel to that storyline.
I think I hated
Er,
that storyline. I feel like I
uh,
hated that.
You know why I hated it? He killed Sabretooth.
It's
And
so
it was
dumb.
real dumb too. It was a dumb death.
Yeah, no good, no good, no good.
Is that the story that created Romulus?
Oh, I think so. That's right. Yeah, I think I hated her. That's right. Yeah, I can't even talk about it.
You know what?
Um,
This is me, dude. This is me. I thought Romulus should have been the original Sabretooth. Like
hmm,
Claremont had an idea. He's like, like he creates Sabretooth. He's also been an Iron Fist. But then he shows up in a bunch of books and he just gets beat all the time. Like he gets beat by Power Man. He gets beat by Black Cat at one point. Black Cat. He's like, yeah, all those Sabretooths were clones. The real Sabretooth you've only seen once. And he wanted to bring back
hmm,
Sabretooth in like a badass way. And I'm like, oh, they should have did that. Like Romulus should have been like, maybe that was his real name, Like he should
right.
have been around for thousands of years. Like it just would have been a neat idea. But
Hmm.
they didn't go with that. Like just
Nah.
it would have been cool to build up Sabretooth to be a real villain again. And then you find out Romulus doesn't even like have claws. He had like fake claws. He had like gloves with claws. Wolverine's like, you don't even have claws. Like that's funny.
I just hated it. I just checked out so many times with that Wolverine run, dude. Every time after Larry Hamill left, every run I was checked out. I
Jeff
checked
Loeb
out.
did that to me twice. My two favorite villains from Marvel, Sabretooth, and he kills him, and Abomination, and he kills him. Because I grew up collecting Hulk. That was one of my earlier comics, and like I loved Abomination because he wouldn't show up that often. And the thing with Abomination is he's stronger than the Hulk, but when the Hulk fights, he gets angrier, gets stronger. So it was always a really cool battle when it happened. And Jeff Loeb like kills him like in Red Hulk, like number one. Like, oh, McGinnis gonna draw Abomination, awesome. And like Red Hulk shows up
Oh,
with like
that's
a
right.
gun, and he just shoots him like it's this powerful Hulk gun. I'm like, that's it? That's the death of
uh,
Abomination? And I don't
I
even know
don't
if they've
remember.
really.
I
And
feel like I
then they
checked
turn
out. I think I
and then
checked
they
out of that
turn
too.
Rick Jones into A Bomb. So it's just like Rick
A
Jones
bomb.
is a version of Abomination.
Right, right, right.
So I'm like, oh, so it
With the
was,
worst name. That's right. Well, that was the replace. They just tried to replace every hero.
well, they
That's
didn't
just
replace
flip them.
Sabretooth. They didn't bring in S Tooth.
S Tooth. Bring in Wild Child. Put up Wild Child for a bit.
They did, but like Wild Child
Did.
looked like a Nosferatu at that point.
Right, right. That's right. Is that pre Matsuda, or that was when Matsuda had when that Sabretooth was on that.
Yeah,
Sabretooth was on
Sabretooth and then Wild
X
Child was on
Factor.
that with them. Yeah, X Factor. You're right.
It's funny they had to basically like kind of spruce up the other books, so they switched the teams around. They're like, this book's not really selling, so let's put on an extreme artist or an eventual extreme artist. But
No, he
uh,
was Extreme first,
I was extreme first, but then went
and then he
there, and
went
then he
to
went to Wolverine for a
they
bit,
went to
right?
Wolverine, did that miniseries with Eric Larson, and then he went to animation, and he never came back.
Well,
You know, it's really nice. Remember the Kaboom miniseries? I think he co-created that with Jeff Loeb for Awesome. Guy had a
yeah,
big like power glove. That was a really good looking book.
yeah, that looked good. I'm trying. Was that liquid on colors? Does that sound right? Kaboom.
It was either that or Richard Horry. Richard Horry became a really good colorist at that point. Richard Horry drew him and his wife just became colorists. They stopped drawing because he was a good artist, but not like a great
Yeah,
artist.
he he did some Team Youngblood, some Youngblood Strike File.
He did some Supreme. He actually drew one of the Alan Moore to Supreme,
Whoa,
which is I know.
Richard
Um,
Horry. She gets some Richard Horry artwork,
Richard
and you have
Horry
Alan Moore
drew
pages.
all of Battlestone, not Battlestone. He did a Youngblood, the first Youngblood Battlezone.
Battle Zone.
You know the
Oh, the first one's bad. The first one is all it's like Punisher Armory. It was all
yeah, it's
just
just a
like ships, buildings. It was basically like an Elliot R. Brown book, but it was Richard Horry. That's right, because he was doing all these like 3D
oh, guess what?
models
It
basically.
was it was Steve Buccellato did the colors on Kaboom.
There you go. Okay, that tracks. That tracks. I grabbed this Catwoman solicit for two things. Oh, I guess I didn't. I thought I screenshot that Frank Joe Catwoman. I'll have to put that up. But
Yeah,
the Frank Joe Catwoman. But this other artist here, I don't know who this is. It's Nubovich. But that's really cool looking. I think that looks great.
that is neat looking.
Yeah, I think that's really good. Nightwing. This is a Francesco Franco Vio issue. So, quick fill in. I'll take that,
That'll
please.
look
Thank
awesome,
you.
actually. Or
Um,
yeah.
so
Actually, yeah,
here's a
it's nice.
compendium, and I want to do the math on this. So let's see. So there's Superman: The Death and Return of Superman compendium. It is 14, almost 1,400 pages, 1,000. So for $60. All right. So here we go. So this is the Superman. Do a little math here. Superman Death compendium. So what do we got here? So we have probably the pages. Doesn't really say, right? It's probably the pages from some of these because remember you just had the hand, right? So I
Right,
doubt they're
right.
doing the whole page. So 73 to 83. So you have 75s. You have World Without a Superman. I guess I guess you
Well,
have returned
I mean,
500.
if
500 is
you just want
returned.
to do simple math, 1,200 divided by
No,
22, you're looking at about 60 comics.
yeah.
If that's what you were trying to add up.
I was
I
adding
mean,
up like the per page, right?
uh,
So this is 0.43. So, for example, like it is 4.38. So the Fantastic Four Solve Everything is 0.38 per dollar per page. This is
38 cents a
point
page,
no
or
under
no,
4 cents a page.
3.4 cents a page. Okay.
This is a little over 4 cents. So this one's a little over 4 cents a page. So that does track. Okay, that's fine. But yeah, so that's really fun. I don't love that cover. That cover's kind of crap, but I guess it's impactful. I guess it looks good
It's
on the shelf
impactful.
more than
It's
likely.
iconic. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's simple. I don't know. That's fine. Boom. All right, that's
We'll
fine.
take it.
Okay, so this one, here we go. This is a hardcover, so the omnibus are a little bit different. So I have 125 divided by 1032. That's 12 cents a page, is what I'm talking about here. 12 cents a page. So the Superman by Philip Kennedy Johnson, Omnibus Volume 1. The only reason it's so funny they even listed this here, presented in reading order, because this is all over the place. If you remember, there's kind of
Sure
in a
is.
couple of different spots. So they're putting things in, and I guess it's ending. Oh, it says with Superman and the Authority 1 through 4, because I think this version of Superman is in the Grant Morrison run. I think at one point. So they're putting the whole thing in there. So this is Philip Kennedy Johnson, Warworld Saga, which is Action Comics 1029 to 46. And then the Future State stuff, right? Yeah, Future State Worlds of War 1 and 2, which I just got for $1 each. Because those were like $7.99. Because remember they had like Superman stories, and they had another like Future State book, and they were just like, all right, or Authority, I think might have been in that or something, right? And they're just like, I don't know, put it out. Just got to put those out. So rather than have like 2 or 3 issues of Superman stories, they basically cropped it to 2 issues, uh, and they were like 10 or 12 pages per, and then they'd have like backups. So Infinite Frontier 0. But yeah, I like that cover. That cover is friggin' great.
Yeah,
That
it's a nice
cover is
cover.
Steve Beach. I don't know who that is. I don't think it's so. Okay, here we go. So DC's Finest, which is their Epic collections, right?
Right.
And I think on the side, it doesn't have it here. I think they have the years on the side. I think that's how they're doing that. So they don't have volume numbers on the side, which is fine, good. So DC's Finest, but I think this is a weird batch. So this is DC's Finest, Batman, The Killing Joke, and other stories. This is the first time The Killing Joke has ever been printed in another format with extra things besides other Brian Bolland things, right? So this is
They
Alan
did put
Moore.
this,
Hmm.
they did put it one time in the Alan Moore collection. They put it in an Alan
They
Moore
did.
collection, and then they took it out for the next collection. Yeah.
Do you have that one? Do you have the one with it in there?
No,
No. Yeah. But is
no.
that does that one also have the Wildstorm shit in it?
That one might be the pre-Wildstorm one.
Yeah.
Because
See, that's
they
what's so
have an
weird.
Alan Moore collection. That's all
Mhm.
his DC stuff. That wasn't Watchmen. All right. And or Swamp Thing. And then they put out a version with the Killing Joke, which is awesome. And then they took out the Killing Joke and put in all the Wildstorm stuff that wasn't the Wildcats ongoing series.
Mhm.
And I don't know if they. I think they made an absolute out of one of them. I forget which one.
I had the Absolute Killing Joke. I got it for
Oh
like
yeah,
50
no, they
bucks,
made
and
an
I
absolute
sold it
killing
for like
joke,
a
right?
buck 20. I sold it because it had
Both sets of colors, or did it have the
it
new
had
colors and the black and
different
white?
had the original colors, and then
Right,
it had the Brian Bolland recolors and the Brian Bolland pages they put on glossy, which is fine. But the paper on the Killing Joke uh, that had the John Higgins colors was worse paper than the actual original paper, but better paper for that. It was almost like the like the Punisher War Journal paper. It was that thicker stock.
right.
So it was cooler. It was really cool. That somewhat regret. Well, I somewhat regret. If I find that again relatively inexpensive, I might buy that again because I liked it.
Yeah,
But I have the copy that I've had. I've had the pink copy, which was like six print or something like that. I have the pink lettered copy, the pink the way you can tell the Killing Joke printings on the original Killing Joke graphic novel prestige format is the
square
color of
bound.
the logo. Because the
Yes,
logo first was green, then I think it went to blue, and I think I had six printing, which I bought at Heroes World, National Mall.
I had
Cover
yellow.
price
I
three
had
ninety
yellow
nine.
for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
then you got first printing in,
Yeah.
and you said, "I'll trade you my first printing for the yellow printing because
Mm-hmm.
you could put the yellow printing on a shelf. It was $1 more than the original printing. You could put it on a shelf and sell it for that price. But if you put it as a back issue up on the wall, then me being a golden membership, I could get it for half off. So
Right.
technically, the store made more money
That's
selling
all
the
you traded
reprint
was a reprint versus the first print. What was I doing?
yes.
Nothing else.
Because no,
What a
nothing
bad
else.
idea.
No, the store made more money off the reprint.
I know, but it wasn't like a 10. It wasn't like a 20 $30 book at that time.
No, no.
Wow.
If
That's right. I think it was only
if
at
it,
10 at max. It was
I
like
think it
the
was
first
10,
because it was
but
printed so
then
many times, so it lost a ton of value. So,
but what's funny is it was 10, but then you would have to give it to me for half off because I was a golden membership or employee discount, whatever you would call that at that point. You're like, all right, this is fine. The store makes more money if I just trade you. But what's funny is now that book's like $100 book.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Bill,
This,
our friend at Frankenstein Comics, somebody came in and I think sold him like 20 of them, first prints. He's just like, because when you own a store, people bring you their comics and you don't have to pay them a lot for them.
right.
Although Bill's fairer than most. Bill actually gives people some money. He just got a full Thor run, like really good. Like I don't know if it's the first Journey in Mystery '83, but it's like
Mm-hmm.
the rest of Journey in Mystery, like the
Mm-hmm.
first Hercules. So anyway, somebody came in with like 20 Killing Joke #1's first print. So and he was just selling them for like $50 a piece. I think he sold one to Walt for like 25. He's like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not gonna like. He hates eBay. But I'm like, Walt's like, these are going for like 100 and something on eBay right now. Just
That's
funny.
not that's not Bill's model.
No
That's not
man, this is
Frankenstein Comics
cash.
model.
Bill's model is cash is king, and $25 in the hand is better than I guess $100 digitally.
He's not doing the shipping and handling and stuff like that. So he's not doing any of that stuff.
No.
So that's all right.
Also, his taxes can be a little. We're not commenting on Bill's taxes. I'm just saying with cash, it's a little different.
Right, right, right. Yeah. This to me, this is just a weird mix of they're doing a Two-Face. So it has Batman 413 to 422 and Detective 580 to 589. So you have a block of you have the Five Nights of the or the whatever Six Nights of the Beast storyline with KG
Right,
Beast, right? Then you have Two-Face and Ratcatcher storylines, which are a Brave Fogel. 580 to 589 is Brave Fogel. Okay.
right.
There might be one issue of somebody else in there, but then you're printing the Killing Joke and Son of the Demon. So I just am very confused at the mix of that.
It's just like is it all bad? Is it all 1988 stuff? Is it all the stuff that came out right before the movie?
Oh, yeah, no, you're probably right because yes, that Son of the Demon, yes, you're right. That's all 89.
Right.
So that's
So
88, 89. So
because
if they're going
the
right,
following year would be Death in the Family. Like that's probably the next if they do another DC Finest, I bet you it's Death in the Family, year three.
mhm.
What was the storyline in between? What was the storyline right after Death in the Family? What was it called? That was a Jim Starlin. I can picture the cover, but I can't picture the title of that story because it was really good.
I don't remember. Yeah,
You're killing me.
but you're right. They're just going to have the way these work. basically is having the years on the side, which I guess
Right.
it'll track.
The next one
You
could have
know,
the cult mixed in, you know.
I don't think they don't like the cult. They don't like the cult for some reason. I don't know.
But what I hope this does have, like it
Oh no,
says,
they just did a deluxe edition of the cult, so maybe not. I don't know. But you're right. But again, listen, they're just gonna, these are so this is 7 cents a page. 7 cents a page. It's just. But you're right. It is publication date. But what I think of it more chronologically. Like when they
hey,
did the last trade, they basically did Batman Year One and Two. That's what they put in.
your absolute Killing Joke, does it have the other Brian Bolland covers of the era? Because when I
Yeah.
got the greatest
Uh,
Batman stories ever told, it's Joker holding the fish. And then Legends of Dark Knight 50 is Joker holding the Joker cat.
I don't
Like there's a
remember.
bunch of
Right.
Brian Bolland Batman covers that are really great and almost like they just feel like they're a string of awesome covers like the Killing Joke cover. The Killing Joke cover is iconic to a level that's ridiculous.
I feel like there were later the Gotham Knights covers he did were in that. So I feel like some of it, but I think you're right. I don't think the ones you just mentioned are in that other collection.
Wow.
So
No, it was the greatest Joker stories ever told cover where he's holding the
yeah.
Joker fish is one of my favorite Brian Bolland. Because I had that first. That's literally my first Brian Bolland probably cover. I got that before Killing Joke because it was a Christmas present when I was like 13.
All right, so we have a
All
DC's
right.
finest in time for the movie. Right now, I don't know if the people are going to be excited about Metamorpho, but if they want it, I do like the selection here. You do have a cool selection.
Yeah. It's,
You
it's some
have
good Metamorpho
all the
stuff.
all of it. You have all the it's basically Metamorpho like Silver Age omnibus. It's not an omnibus, but it's cheaper. So this one here is $40 divided by 592. So that's 7 cents. Okay. So DC's finest, the thing. So if you want an omnibus, you're paying 12 cents a page. I should go back and do the Marvel ones. The Marvel ones are insane because the Marvel ones make no sense
You know what'll
because the
make you sad
Micronauts.
if you do what modern comics cost per page.
I don't want to talk about it. We're not doing that. We're just gonna do the trades. So for now, I know I don't want to do that.
All
But
right.
I
So
do like
Metamorpho.
this. I do like this. Yeah. So you have the Metamorpho, all the Bob Haney, Ramona Fradon issues. So you have Brave and the Bold 56, 58, 66, 68, 101. All the entire Metamorpho run, the Ramona Fradon, and then Justice League. So yes, please.
You
Yes,
know what
please.
DC should do is if you're going to have a movie and you know these certain characters are in it, like maybe make like a Superman annual where it has these characters in it, where it tells the DC universe version of those characters. So if people like, hey, I love this movie, what do you have like it? Oh, well, here's a story that happens to have Superman, Metamorpho, Hawkgirl. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like it doesn't tie into the movie. It's set in real DC continuity. So it's kind of like a stepping stone between the movie. Here's a comic that's similar to it, but shows you what the DC universe is. So it's almost like, oh, I like this comic. What else do you have a Superman? What else do you have a Hawkgirl? Like a
Right.
stepping stone comic, like I don't know, which would be good.
I feel like Marvel did that when Marvel did like they would do those really bad looking covers where it's just kind of like a flat cut. It's like a grayish surrounded cover, and then you have a character in the middle. Like I feel like they did one for Deadpool after the most recent movie. And it was like some dead. It was like an issue of a McGinnis, an issue of like I think a Madware one, a McGinnis one, and then like a Deadpool core. Like I
Yeah,
had a mix of stuff in there.
but what I'm talking about is like a new story, like a new
Oh right.
story that's like, hey, like I understand what you're saying too, and that's obviously a good
Well,
idea as
yeah, they should
well.
do like countdown specials. Remember the countdown specials? They had cool reprints. It was like countdown special Commandi, and it was like a Kirby Commandi, and then you had like a Starlin Commandi in the back, and then the like you had other stuff inside of it. You had
Yeah,
three
yeah.
tails in there, but no new main one. I know what you're saying. So do a main one
Do a new one shot that's
and then a
movie
reprint in the
like.
back.
You could have a reprint, or you just have a reprint special that goes along with it. Maybe the same cover artist as the special, so it's kind of like they go together. Yep, they
Yeah.
won't do that though. Too good of an idea, Mark.
No, I
A
know
reprint,
this.
because
Yeah,
I would have
this.
loved that as a kid when that first Batman movie came out. Obviously, we had so
Mhm.
much Batman stuff, so Batman kind of did it right. But like, give me a Batman special that's similar to the movie, but we also got the movie adaptation. We had a ton of Batman reprints going on, so we were like, Batman did it perfectly, whether intentional or not.
Right. Right.
So I don't know. All right, so let's move on. They're doing a Doctor Fate collection, the JM Matthias.
Yeah,
Mateus.
This is funny the way the recoloring on this I think is really cool. I think it just looks very. I feel like the color, yeah, it's like a day glow type of coloring. I like the blue on. I think it's really cool. This is a kind of an interesting collection, and I almost feel like what even doing the math on this here, I feel like with something like this is a little bit more select, right? I feel like this should be almost like 12 cents a page, right? Like if you're buying this, it's very specific. So I feel
Right.
like when they did the Legion hardcovers a couple years ago, I almost feel like that was those were like hardcovers and like 60 or almost $70 a piece. It was like the marriage of the Justice League did like the marriage of Sue Dibney and Elongated Man, right? And it was
Right.
a ton of Dick Dillon stuff in there. It was cool. But they were very expensive hard, and they shouldn't have been hardcovers. But anyway, so this is a soft cover, almost 800 pages, 8 cents a page. But
We're
I feel
looking
like
about
something like this,
30 issues worth of comics.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a pretty cool run because again, you got the Sean McManus stuff in there, which was Vertigo,
Right.
and then that Doctor Fate, that's all Simonson. Well, it was Simonson did an issue, I want to say, and it was no, that's all. I'm sorry, that's all Keith Giffen. That's Keith Giffen
Yeah.
cover. But but it's weird. Like, I guess it's okay. Well, no, that's right. Okay, it's by J.M. DeMatteis because I'm thinking like, why isn't the first issue special in there? That's okay. That's all right. That's fine. I love this cover. I think it's great. I love that miniseries. That's a great dollar bin find. That miniseries is friggin' awesome. Uh, so I do like this. I do like that they're continuing the Nightwing. The Nightwing Compendium I think would be great to give to somebody. I think that
Yeah.
the first Chuck Dixon Scott McDaniel compendium would be awesome. This is where it kind of breaks up a little bit more, and I think this is where is where Land comes on um, after McDaniel leaves. But let's see.
Right.
So the compendium numbers. Let me see if this is the same. The 60 divided
Hey, if
by.
you people don't like math, let us know.
I don't care. You're doing the math. So this is more expensive. This is 5.3 cents. So it's 5 cents. So it's a little more expensive than the other compendium for Superman. Superman's 0.0043, and this is 0.053. But it's a volume two, and it this is where it's kind. I don't know if there's going to be a volume three,
Right.
but to give someone this big stack, I think that's really fun. Um,
Also,
this
these
is
prices might not stick because all these books are probably printed in China. That's why they can be printed so cheap.
oh
And if tariffs come into play, we don't know if these books might or may not go up in price.
yeah.
We'll see. This is
Now
an awesome book, dude. This book,
this
you're
is
going to love this book.
interesting.
Dan McGowan. Dan McGowan will eat the shit up. We
Yeah,
will too.
he should, I should, I maybe I'll look at, pre-ordering this thing because I'm not spending 125 on this. But it's so funny. I'm so happy this is happening because I sold they made the Jack Kirby omnibuses. Like
Mhm.
they made two of these and I bought them at Phantasm Comics. They had a sale and I think they were $40 originally. They were hardcovers and it was two of them. And I sold them recently. I sold them last summer, and it was a little tough to sell them. But I was hoping that they would print them again because there's a couple things in here that are not there's canceled comics in here. Like there's an issue of Shade the Changing Man that is not printed. Like number 8, I believe, is not printed, but it's printed here. There's an
Are they
issue of
gonna?
the
Do you think
Odd
they're gonna
Man's in here
color?
as well.
They're gonna color the stuff from the canceled comic Cavalcade because that was black and white. The version we got.
They didn't. No, actually, you know what? No, they did color it. They did color it in here.
That's
But
what I was asking.
yeah, what's weird about it is that there is an issue of Odd Man where it was just a Odd Man was in a lot of the ads, if you remember. He'd almost looked like a Two-Face because he had like this the suit on him was a bunch of patchwork and stuff. It was
Right.
kind of a combination of things, and he had these like glasses that were I think almost like 3D looking glasses. They were two different colors, but they eventually printed that in when Detective Comics was like extra pages. So they eventually printed it in color, but in this collection it was not in color. I don't know why. So
All
I'm
right.
not sure. I'm not sure why, but I feel like the Creeper stuff that was canceled and the but this has everything. Yeah, so this has Tales of the New Gods, House of Secrets, but this is combining the two hardcovers together. So this is here we go. So buck 25,
Right. 1,264
64.
pages.
Oh,
That
so you
is a,
got to listen. If you're buying Ditko, you got to spend almost 10 cents a page. And you know what?
but
I
it's in
got to pre-order.
hardcover form. Right.
It's hardcover omnibus, so it's bigger. It's gonna be it's
It'll be
larger
what'll
on
be
an
neat about
omnibus
this
handy.
is you'll get to see Ditko over the course of 20, 30 years.
Yeah,
He's got inkers, Wally Wood inking it, Mike Royer inking it, and of course Steve Ditko inking himself is one of his best inkers.
mostly. Yeah. Mhm.
So this will be a really neat book to read. It's all over the place. It's Weird War Tales. It's Legion of Superheroes. This will be fun. This will be a fun book.
Look, after he left, it's really, we should do it. We should do a Ditko chronology is when he left Marvel and went to Charlton and did a ton of work and came over here and did some work and just jumped around and there's just a ton and then went back to Marvel and didn't work on Spider-Man. He created Speedball. There was just so many things. Speedball number
Right.
one, my opinion, is still the worst number one cover of all time. It's the back of Speedball. It's the weirdest cover. It's so bad.
Yeah.
You can find it in
But
dollar
like
bins
people
because
forget that
that.
Doctor Strange is basically 99% Ditko. Like
Mhm.
that's not even
Yeah.
like a Stan Lee idea. Stan Lee almost had nothing to do with Doctor Strange.
Yeah. Look, Plop 16. I don't know. What did he do in that? You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like that's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's tons of stuff I don't know about
Dude, he did
that are
work for
wrapped up
Cracked
in here.
Magazine in the 80s. You know that? Cracked Magazine.
Time Warp 1 to 4. Awesome. Yeah, so this is really good. This is a great coming out in June. That's a great collection. This is a reprint of a collection. This was something that this is the Spectre. This is all the Neil Adams, Jim Aparo. This is a
All right.
great run. But I feel like the coloring on this, they did like a almost like a Dayglow coloring on this. The only issue with this is I'm about 95% sure is that because Neil Adams had his hooks in uh in for a while, that the Neil Adams printing of this, when Neil Adams went back and worked on some printing of his old work, if he didn't like it,
Yeah,
he would
he'd recolor it.
redraw it, and then
Oh
he
yeah.
had his son or him and his son coloring it, and it's so weird because they're in the Dead Man hardcover. It's so goofy because the first
It's
issue
another
that he drew
case.
of Dead Man, yeah, it's George Lucas. It's George Lucas going back and touch stuff. Don't touch it.
But it's
Leave
also
it.
another case of like artist coloring. Like did he color the original miniseries?
Nah,
Okay. See,
nah.
we get nostalgic for the original stuff.
Tanaja Wood or
And
something.
so when
Yeah.
he yeah, top yeah, she's great. Um wife of Wallywood. Her Swamp
Oh,
Thing
that's right.
colors are incredible.
It's funny
Uh,
that's that, and then Glennis Wein is Len Wein's wife for a while, but
right.
did a ton of coloring in Conan and like a ton of Marvel coloring, ton.
When Brian and I were working, like I wanted my wife to color our stuff because she's actually a really good color. She's actually a really good artist. She's a better artist than I am. And so are my daughters. Like they're really good artists. I'm like,
Hmm.
everyone's a great artist in my family. And it's like nobody wants to do anything with it. It kills me. My stepson's a really good cartoonist, doesn't do anything with
Oh,
it.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
funny.
it is. It is insane. That's whatever. So yeah, but it's listen, women have an eye for color. Women actually see more colors than men. So to have a female colorist, you're better off for it.
Why is
They
that
legit, they just DNA, just genetics.
weird?
They can smell better than us too.
I can make
They,
so many. I'm so close to making like a crazy sexist comment, but I'm just not going to. I'm gonna
you
skip
know what? Yeah, stop, Mark, stop.
it. I will skip it. Okay. So here's some. All right. So that's all solicited. So let's see. So
That's
if
good.
you want Jim Aparo, okay. Or wait, did I price that? I don't think I priced that. No, I didn't. Okay. So if you want Ditko, you're gonna spend 10 cents a page. Okay. But
It's a
that's on
hardcover.
that. It's a hardcover. All right. So bang for your buck, those 6x9s. That's the best one. But we also haven't seen those yet. Don't know if that's distractingly small. Don't know if that's compact size. I don't really want Dale Eagles should work smaller per se. That's more of a story driven. Uh, the compendiums are, if you get a Superman compendium, it's 4.3, 4 cents a page. Nightwing compendium, 5 cents a page. The DC finest seems to be 7 cents a page. The Ditko, you're going to spend the money on that, and then I think I priced this before, so 680 pages for the Spectre for $100, uh, for 15 cents a page. So if you like Jim Aparo, you're going to spend 15 cents a page. Seems a little well, it's the Spectre, right? But and it is a hardcover and it's an omnibus. So okay, so we've talked around the Neil Gaiman allegations, right? Really kind of terrible things.
Hey, real quick,
Uh,
you ever watch A Better Place? It's a movie. I guess Kevin Smith produced it. My friend just sent me a thing. I guess MVD now has the rights to VSQ production films via Smart Castle Cinema label. And the first thing they're putting out is a director's cut of A Better Place. I guess it's a movie Kevin Smith had something to do with. But what makes that article funny, my friend just sent it to me, is now it's a big thing. People are like, "Hey Kevin, can you do the Ayer cut for Suicide Squad, at your movie theater?" So
Right,
there's a
right,
bunch of
right.
people trying to get him to play the David Ayer cut, which supposedly is a really better cut of the initial Suicide Squad movie. So they're waiting for like a response. It's just kind of funny. My friend sent me that just
Oh, that's
now.
funny. Well, this is kind of is moderately related. So because it says Kevin Smith's co-host on Batman is involved in this next story. But so
Okay.
just real
Oh,
quick
look at that.
about
I
Kevin
did
Smith.
not see that.
Yeah, real quick about Kevin Smith. That he was on a podcast called Good One, which is a really good comedy podcast, and they did I think it was a Q and
That's a good
A or
name.
something. And that's a really good podcast. It's literally having a lot of comedians on. Nate Bargatze was on a couple weeks ago with Mikey Day and Streeter Seidel, literally for an hour and a half talking about the Washington sketch, about how it came about, how it was almost someone else, and how it didn't do that great a dress, and the way that I think, Nate Bargatze's colorblind. If you didn't, I think I told you that before.
Right, right.
So the way that the cue cards work, on the first, and they did a dress, and he screwed something up because he talked over something, and then it became he didn't tell anyone he was colorblind, but the cue cards are it doesn't say, it's just you're the color. That's it.
Right, you're the
They might
color.
tell you at the
That's how
beginning.
every
That's it.
cast member. Yeah.
Right. So you're X color. You're green. So he started reading um, someone else's lines. So then they had to figure that out. And then he asked because he thought the sketch was a little, it was so static. He's like, well, can I walk around? Like, so he asked, so that all that stage direction was him because he's like, I think it's boring if I'm just standing here. So he's walking around like touching everybody, you know? So
No,
anyway, that
that
was,
makes more sense as a sketch
yeah,
because it shows you're thinking and you're not reading.
right, right.
That's good.
So that was like an hour and a half, but Kevin Smith was on this week. And apparently he talks about all the dogma stuff also with a sexual predator, right? So the sexual predator, Harvey Weinstein owned dogma rights.
Yeah.
And he offered them, he goes into all the bids. Apparently he offered like $500,000, right? Or 250,000 on the initial. He wanted a conversation. So he sent in an offer while the litigation was happening. The lawyer comes back, no, we want more than that. Okay. And then someone approached him. I forget what studio. They approached him that they can get it, but some money was going to funnel back to Harvey. And he's like, I'm not doing it. So I think that's kind of cool. Like he says, oh, no, 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 I'm not having any money. I don't want to be connected. I'm trying to just
Yeah.
get it. Let me have it. So someone he code with now, they're allowing him, it's kind of a combination of a Kevin Smith factor. So they're allowing him to tour it like he does. He wants to go to like 100 cities. He wants to do a
Right.
huge city tour, which he does in a lot of his movies. And maybe even a simulcast. Because when I saw Jay and Silent Bob reboot, I think it was simulcast, where there was like a show, they did an intro, and it was like a Fathom event, basically, right?
All right.
So he's going to do a tour of Dogma, Q&A, $50 to $70 per ticket. Then it's actually going to come out digital and streaming. So the rights of streaming of all that will be probably out the end of either this year or early next year, whenever he does. So he has some arrangement there, which is cool because he'll get to make his money. That's how he makes all his money,
Right,
basically,
right.
is talking, so he'll go around and do that. So that's good. Again, and it's funny that this is coming out this way because this next story is literally the opposite of that. So whereas Dogma was held hostage because initially Disney didn't want it, it was going to go to Miramax, and Miramax, they didn't let Miramax do it, but Miramax couldn't have kids. So um, the way that the model essentially was, the Weinsteins would buy it and put it out through some other company, like a shell
Right.
company or something like that, was how they
Right. It
released
was
Dogma, because
it was
Dogma, there was a lot of,
Lionsgate, right?
I think it went out eventually through Lionsgate, but it was bought and produced and everything by the Weinsteins. So anyway, so the next story is that Neil Gaiman in the last few weeks has had a Vulture article. It's so weird that Vulture, that name of the website, it's a very famous website. It literally is that. It's literally like picking
Picking at
apart.
the bones. Yeah,
It's
they're
so gross.
scavengers. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so gross because they find some scandal, and they just, and again, there's a lot of lives ruined on every which side, but
Yes.
this I don't love from a creator perspective. So recently, mainly Dark Horse's printing have been adaptations of Neil Gaiman's books that he might be somewhat involved in. His name's on there just to kind of sell a little
Right.
bit more, right? The
Yeah.
P. Greg Russell did Norse mythology. There was a couple extra. Eric Shanower worked on that. A few people worked on that. The most recent one is the Nazi
He
Boys,
he
which is
probably
seven
did less
issues.
work. He probably did less work for this than like his techno comics of the 90s.
Yeah,
You know?
exactly. It's barely he's barely involved in this, and I feel like this is a weird press release, and it came out because Walt put in our group chat. Came out on this announced on social media at like 11:30 2 nights ago. Came out like Dark Horse tweeted it like
Yeah.
11:30 at night. It's like this is the right time, But it went everywhere fast. It went everywhere in one day, and just every click, every article I saw on it was like go. That they cancel is cancel. They love it. Again, that spreads like crazy. It spreads like wildfire. It's a weird move for Dark Horse. I don't think it's great. And what's so funny is that these solicits for that book for the hardcover came out. The trade of the hardcover came out like the day before this press release because I remember looking at the solicits and it was there. The ANASI Boys number 7, or no, the trade, which is 1 through 7. No, I think it's 8. So 8 now. 8 is never going to get. No, it's. Yeah, 8 is never printed. It's 8 issues. 8 will
Right.
never be printed. So anyone who has 7 and what are you going to do? Oh, okay. So all 7 are out. 8, they're going to cancel all the orders. No 8 for anyone. So you can't finish it and you can't get a trade of it.
I don't love this.
No.
I think that is a shit. You're treating the fans like shit. You're treating these creators like shit. Mark Bernardin
Correct.
is not a rich man. He may be a little well off, but he's not a rich man. You have artists. You have all these people who is Dark Horse paying them? Because listen, being paid isn't even the end game. It's the end game is to get your stuff out there, to see it seen, to see people talk about it, to see your
Right.
art be shown by hundreds or thousands of people. Um, Again, it sucks that it's Neil Gaiman. It sucks that it's his ideas, and he'll still get a cut of the money. But like, also, it goes to everyone else. You're not going to
Yeah.
stop all the Miramax movies. We still are going to see them. We're not taking away that stuff. You can go see. You can go look up Adolf Hitler's artwork if you wanted to. Like, don't take the art away. Not a Hitler fan.
Right.
Just saying you could
Right.
go look up his artwork.
To be clear.
It's not bad.
Right.
He's not wasn't a bad painter. I wish he would have stuck with it.
Yeah, there's a movie about that, right? I think there's a movie that John Cusack's in. It's called Max, I believe. It's a good movie.
Okay.
It's a good movie. I think me and Ian may have saw it in the theater.
So, man, so Mark Bernardin puts out this tweet announcement, and boy, does it read like a Mark Bernardin. Like can you picture him like Anansi Boys is about two brothers, twins. One is meek, timid, like a Flopsy set upon puppy. Like I can hear his voice.
This is a great Mark Bernardin impression.
I've never tried to do Mark.
And listen, when we're saying that he's not well off, he hustles, man. Like it's not we're not taking away from him. Listen, he hustles, and that's what we want. And I think you had it exactly right. As you're punishing the fans, and you're punishing the creators. There should be in anyone's contract, I feel, just in general, on any type of artistic thing, there should be an ethics clause, right?
Yeah,
where you don't gain future royalties for that. Because if they would do that and exercise it, basically post cancellation, that's the way every book should have an ethics clause across. Because for whatever reason,
oh my god, dude, that's what a great.
Right.
This is a short. This Mark Bernardin conversation is a short because that's such a good idea. An ethics clause, which is a real thing.
Sure.
But now your money goes to whatever thing you violate. So if you say something racist, maybe it goes to Black Lives Matters. If you abuse women, it goes to
So you're saying that their cut of whatever royalty. So Nasty Boy trades sells, right? Bernardin gets a cut, Martinberg gets a cut, Chris Odomentor gets a cut, Mac gets a cut on covers.
Right.
Gaiman gets a consulting cut. Maybe he might even get 20-30%. He might get the biggest cut, unfortunately.
He
right?
might.
So he might still get a cuts into everyone else's crap. But you're saying that instead of it being divided over the balance, no one's going to have trouble with, okay, this now goes to this charity for women. This charity
at the very least, the Neil Gaiman cut.
Child abuse. Yeah.
Now the Neil Gaiman cut goes to women's abuse. Yeah, something
correct
along those lines.
2 weeks ago, the Amalgam Age of Comics, where it's coming out right now, and there are Amalgam books in there because there's one writer in there that had some child pornography stuff come out. And
right.
They are not reprinting those books, which I'm like, well, there are artists attached to that aren't going to get a cut of that. which again,
Yes.
if the
You're
ethics
punishing.
clause concept that, we just talked about was in there,
Right. Now
then
the
Gerard
Gerard
Jones
Jones
doesn't
cut of
get
it,
right.
right. It goes to helping fight child pornography.
Yeah.
In some way, whether people going after it or the kids who have already been found or abused or helping kids who were trafficked.
Yeah, I don't know what Dark Horse is gaining. I think unfortunately, this is what's weird about it is that Dark Horse is number 7, 10. Like I mean they I think maybe at one time, printing wise, publishing wise, when they were a ton of Conan, a ton of Star Wars, they might have been in the top 5, right? A publisher maybe 4 for, they probably did pretty well, right? Um
But the second part of that ethics clause, by the way,
mhm.
is upon your death, it can revert to your estate, but only upon the death of like your kids shouldn't be punished for your crimes.
Hmm.
Just something
Such a
interesting.
parent thing. That's such a parent thing. Is that a real
It is
thing?
a parent. I don't know. What do you mean? What part of it? No, I'm just saying, like in this ideal world
Oh, I
where
just
the
didn't
ethics
know. Right.
clause, upon the death of Neil Gaiman, your money now can go to your heirs because they were innocent, probably in all of your actions.
Right, right, right. Well, he
I don't
preyed
know.
on pretty much every babysitter. So he had kids, so basically he can have babysitters and do bad things. So awesome.
Not
Cool.
great. Not great.
Not great, not great. But so we're pro. Listen, this whole show is about being pro creator, being pro industry, right? So that
And
so our
we're
biggest
pro
concern with
fans.
this, yeah, our biggest concern with this is basically that Sean Martinborough isn't getting a cut. Sean Martinborough, one of my favorite Detective Comics runs ever, the Greg Rucka run. Love that run, love it.
Right.
He did Thief of Thieves. Is that correct? The Kirkman.
I believe. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
With
So
Kirkman
that.
slash Spencer slash.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I never
That's
read that. I read the first issue.
I read 1 or 2 issues of it. It wasn't bad, but I wanted to wait until I think it's done. So
It is done.
but
Yeah, I wanted to wait till it
again,
was done and then wait 10 years on top of that.
and maybe 15. We don't know how long ago. So I hate this story. I hate
And
the way
honestly,
that it's being handled. I hate the way that Dark Horse is handling it. I feel the Dark Horse is handling it to get to get into clicks, like do you really think that any exposure here is going to help sell Black Hammer, Minor Threats? But I don't know. You know what I mean? Any of the Cullen Bunn horror stuff there? Do you think
yeah,
anything there is selling anything more for Dark Horse
no,
because of this storyline? I don't know.
no, this is not a good. It's not a good move, and it's not helping. You're right. It's not helping Dark Horse. It's not like people are going, "Oh, Dark Horse did a good thing there." Let me go buy the
I don't
new
think
Hellboy
anyone. Yeah,
collection.
I don't think anyone is saying that this is a good move. I can't imagine. I'll have to look at some of the other news sites, but so I hate that. Hate that. So yeah, so
And
hardcover
and
collections canceled.
do you know where this really? Did I bring it up last week? My upsetness over that we might not get Miracle Man in the Dark Age for a while. Like, despite the
Yeah.
fact that did I bring that up last week on the show? Or did I
No,
talk to
we
you
can bring it
about
up. It's all in
Okay.
in realm.
Obviously, one of the holy grails of my comic collection was seeing the completion of Miracle Man Silver Age. I'm such a Miracle Man fan, being the Alan Moore mark that I am. Not you, Mark, but a mark of Alan Moredom. So I was talking to Mark Buckingham, who's a really lovely fellow. That's like a British way of calling him. He's a really good guy. I really like talking to him. Really nice. And I
He's
felt
not
like
a wanker.
he's not a wanker. He's not a. I didn't tell him to sod off. So I feel like with every issue of Miracle Man, Neil Gaiman is invested in it less and less.
Yeah.
like the first 2 issues of Silver Age were written 30 years ago and printed by Eclipse Comics. The 3rd issue of Silver Age we never got. What's sad is we didn't get new Barry Windsor Smith covers. Barry Windsor Smith did the covers initially for Silver Age 1 and 2, and I think he did one for the 3rd issue that I've never seen. Something to go research. So Buckingham. So the 3rd issue was done 30 years ago. They didn't print it. So when they decided to finally do it today, finally got the rights all cleared up, Mark Buckingham said, "I'm going to completely redraw it because I know how good I can do this now." And he completely redrew Silver Age. But
Which
when
makes
issue 3
sense. It would be really hard for him to be like, let me emulate what I was like.
he's a completely different artist,
Yeah.
So when the 4th issue comes out, you can tell it's less Gaiman than 1, 2, and 3. And I feel like I got to a point where him and Gaiman were just talking on the phone, like, "What do you want to do this issue?" He writes it down, and then just Mark Buckingham does it because Mark Buckingham is a good writer as well as being a
Right.
fantastic artist,
Yeah.
good colorist. He could just do it all. So with the Dark Age, I felt like that's the next impending miniseries that we were going to get. It's been delayed. I don't know how long prior to this even happening. So I don't know if we're going to get that miniseries soon. I don't know if they're just going to take Neil Gaiman's name off of it. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I guess
Well, you
they
figure if this affects, there's already been a small promo for Sandman season 2 for Netflix, which the first one was a bit of a stretch because Gaiman wouldn't just make it. It could have been made poorly over, like American Gods. American Gods basically was kind of made poorly for stars. It's
right.
slugged through and it's fine.
It's a weird. I watched the first season of that. I never got around to the second two. I
The
liked
biggest
it.
mistake. The biggest mistake is that the main guy, Ricky, whatever, he's not, that actor's not that compelling. And that's it.
No,
That's the biggest mistake.
but
You have to nail that casting on the front end. And Ricky Little, I think Ricky Little was the character anyway. But yeah, you got to nail that casting, period. And it wasn't, and then everything else fails.
but the rest of the cast is pretty good.
Yeah, the
Like
rest of the cast is really good, but but
the guy
it's
who plays the
just
leprechaun, I love him. He's a tall, kind of a pointy nose. He is, I forget his name, but he is who played
Gillian
Sabretooth?
Anderson's in that.
Who played Sabretooth in Wolverine
Tyler
Origins?
Maine,
No, in the Wolverine Origins movie.
Liev Schreiber.
Liev Schreiber. He's Liev Schreiber's brother,
Okay.
and he is awesome. He was on a season of Law and Order. He played like this serial killer, and he's just like a Jason
Hmm.
Bateman esque. He was really good. And Kathy's like, I hate this guy. I hate this guy. He was on the first season of Orange Is the New Black. Did you watch the first season of Orange Is the New Black?
Nah.
No. Okay. He he's on a new show now. I forget. Anyway, he's like, I would love to play Wolverine, and then me and my brother could just like fight each other on screen.
Oh wow. Yeah, that would have been neat. Just do a short film.
But
To
anyway, he played the Leprechaun on the first season of American Gods, and he's really good. But he's like tall, but he loves to fight. Like it was just a cool. So yeah, I'll get back to American Gods. I don't. I mean, now I
I'll
feel
never
kind of
finish
weird.
it.
Yeah, now I feel kind of weird
But
even saying
but
that.
Sandman season 2, they did a promo and Neil Gaiman was absent, and maybe they knew some of this was coming, so he was out. That came out like a month ago. There was rumors of stuff that he so they had story heads or showrunners and all that stuff, directors. So season 2, I think, is wrapped now. But that basically means he can't do that. They're not going to do another Good Omens, another season. I know that the season 1 and 2 were kind of split farther apart, which hurt that. I never wanted. I think I watched the first episode of season 2, didn't love it, and never went back to watch it anymore. So I don't know. But if they were going to do a season 3, which they can kind of do. Now they have kind of the format. That's not going to happen. But more so, we think of it as a production. When the Tenacious D cancellation happened, when Kyle made an offhand Trump joke, and Jack ended the show, and then they canceled the rest of the tour, and I'm just like, the first thing we said to each other, like, wait a second, all the roadies ain't making any money.
Right.
The venues aren't making any money. The fans are disappointed. Like, just doing an apology, whatever. So I was being a goofball. We're goofballs. Like,
Also, they're
just
comedians. They're gonna say if
yeah.
they don't offend you sometimes, then maybe they're not great comedians,
Look,
and
their
it's okay.
songs are called like cock push-ups. Like, I mean, like, come on. Like,
Yeah,
what I mean? It's not as if that
yeah,
band is the most serious band. Just like, again, just get rid of it. Just get rid of the controversy. Be done with it. You're not pissing off your fans. You're not paying. You're paying the crew. We're about blue collar. Let's get paid. You know what I mean? We
yeah,
work. We gotta
yeah.
get paid.
We work
We
hard.
gotta get paid. Um,
We also f
so
hard, just like the Tenacious D song.
that's right.
Sometimes you don't always have to f hard.
No, you gotta effort gently.
That's right.
All right, so here we go. So new Star Wars. Okay, so the thing I really like about this is Han's white jacket. So there were a couple pieces of promo art. Hans, it's got because this is basically their. And again, we have to see. So far, you haven't been super pleased with Alex Segura on the Battle of Jakku stuff.
Yeah, you're right. It's kind
Uh,
of
but
maybe it's an
Phil
art
Noto
thing.
pumping up
Maybe
is
it's a writing
fine by
thing.
me. That's a great idea.
Yes.
Period. Because he did the Poe Dameron series, was great.
Mhm.
He did Chewbacca mini series, which was great. And again, I don't remember who wrote either of those. I think Charles Soule wrote one of them. I don't remember, but same thing as I think Duggan might have done the. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter because I remember clearly, and Noto has done the most art for Star Wars on covers and variant covers and period. I feel like he's done the most on this.
Right.
So I did end up doing but this is going to be post Jedi, which we've never seen.
No,
Can you do
it's a Marvel
this?
universe. This is official Disney continuity post
Yeah.
Jedi story. So, I mean, that's great. This is what we want. This is what we want for movies. This is what we
Hmm.
want for everything. Our entire lives is
Please
about
give us
post
this.
Jedi.
Yes,
You
please
know,
give us this.
the only thing and what has been post Jedi, Mandalorian, the show that works the best
Hmm.
out of all the Star Wars stuff since Disney got the license. The show that works the best,
Yeah, for two
Mandalorian,
seasons. Right, for
for
two
two
seasons.
seasons,
For two
and it's
two seasons,
post Jedi,
a
and two
couple little
episodes
things,
of
right?
yeah. So anyway, this is what we want. This is what we want for
Mhm.
the comic. This is what we want for everything. So
But
I hope this is great.
you're also using the Ethan Sachs bounty hunter. Like this guy was a Simonson creation. This was kind of almost like the Cable, right? This was the
Right.
Simonson, and
Yeah,
but they Terminator him in the Bounty Hunters, which that Bounty Hunters book was pretty good. Ethan
it
Sachs,
was.
and I'm trying to remember who drew that. I think he might have eventually Droon. That's um, yeah, but I always like that character. I always felt like it's Cable in space, you know. But even Liefeld talks about how he loved that character when he was a kid. So look at this guy. He's a bounty hunter. He's badass, you know. He
Yeah.
just had cool armor, and you know, it's not it's a Cable archetype sorta, or you know,
Right.
Cable, you know. Anyway,
But
so
now they're kind of cabling him up. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like he inspires one thing, and then they go, well, since he inspired him, let's push that back on him. You know what I mean?
yeah. He was the leader of the bounty hunter. I mean, they literally had a book called Bounty Hunters, and it was literally like Bosk, and like it was great. It was cool,
Yeah,
and then
they X Force the team for
yeah,
him to be the cable of. So it's
yeah,
funny. Inspiration, and then you're inspired by what you inspire.
fine.
There's a great, Star Wars itself is very inspired by Lord of the Rings. There's a lot of Lord of the Rings stuff in Star Wars.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um, and then when
Dune
we get
stuff.
the Lord of the Rings movie and Dune stuff and Flash Gordon, Star Wars is everything.
Mhm.
But when they get to the second Lord of the Rings movie, Two Towers, there's a scene where uh, what was the elf's name? What was
Legolas.
Legolas? Legolas is like running up. They're fighting these things, the Elefantes. They're like these huge elephants, and they're fighting them. And it's very reminiscent of like the Hoth scene. So it's Star Wars inspired by Lord of the
Mhm.
Rings, and then
Right.
Lord of the Rings movie is inspired by the Star Wars movies. Like it's
Right.
just
Right. Right.
kind of
Right.
a total wraparound.
Yeah. Oh man, I might have to. My faith in movies have to be restored. I feel like I'm really disparate in things, so I might have to do a rewatch of the theatricals because I do feel I like some of the expanded, but I
Hmm.
feel like Fellowship expanded it's choppier, and I don't like it. So
I love the experience
Fellowship,
just because I feel like I'm in that world longer, with the exception of the ghost scene in the Return of the King. I think they mess up the theatrical
mm,
incredibleness of the ghost helping out.
yeah, I think you're
Because they
right on
do it.
that.
So, but all
In
right,
theatrical,
let's
yeah.
in
But that's because
theatrical
they had
does
to
it
have
better.
seven endings. That's because they had to have 17 endings. The worst part, the best and worst part, all right? I guess the best part in a way for the way the world is now is we can reserve our seats. We can show up 10 minutes before, get our popcorn and go in, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the best part. And you can recline, you know what I mean?
Hmm. If the seats work,
If they
because
work, you know. You have bad luck on seats, man. You get there and
well,
you
we
got to make
changed
some
rows. It
calls.
was all the G row. All of a sudden, the seats started going in the G row, starting with G10, which is like my daughter's seat.
G10.
I know.
Yeah,
We're very
so
specific. So now
so
we
we got to
upped
get
it to the
the
F row.
right.
Did you get your ticket for Cap? Are you coming
No,
with
no.
us? Or
No.
you doing your girl that day? Not doing your girl that
Come
day. I
on,
mean, you
man.
probably will. But like, are you hanging out with your girl that day?
Yeah, yeah. So, and I doubt we're seeing that movie. I doubt
Why
that
not,
she
dude?
wants to do that
You
one.
know what? Just watch two Marvel movies a day for the next month, and you'll catch up with
No,
her. Catch her up to the Marvel world.
nah, no. I want her to still date me. See, I don't want to. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want to still
I
date me.
gotcha.
So,
Oh man,
yeah. Anyway, so let's go.
I
Here
know.
we go. Here we go. Last bit
Next
of
bit.
news that I
Uh,
have: Dynamite 3 published Vampirella and affordable. Now, this press release, and I looked through it twice. I didn't see any price as a more affordable format because I think before he
Oh,
had Vampire
you can't do the
Archives.
math now. That's horrible for
I
you.
love the math, right? I know. It
What a
does the
letdown.
first volume you're printing 1 through 7, 15 volume line. I'm gonna say 30, 15,
Right,
30, I spent $450. Um, so I don't know. But what was cool about this is that, we're all very familiar with the first cover, the first Rosetta cover.
right,
I wasn't as familiar as some of the interior arts. There's a Tom Sutton, clearly restored.
right. This is
Looks
definitely
great.
scanned from the issue and touched up, which is just the way we have to do a
No
lot of old
problem.
stuff. We don't have the
No
files.
problem. Looks great. But this, when I saw it small, I was like, oh, is that like a Tim Sale? So that's really cool. So that's Jack Sparling, who Jack Sparling did a ton of war books, did a ton of Witching Hour, did a ton of Charlton books too. So I think that's when I saw that small and I enlarged, I was like, oh man, that's so cool because that looks like it looks so much like a Tim Sale Catwoman
I love
drawing.
that you're ending our show with another Jack mark.
Jack baby.
Start the show jacking, end the show jacking.
And then while I was looking through something else later, some other solicits, um, I guess Titan has Tank Girl. They're doing Tank Girl like classics basically, which I think is pretty cool. So they just have, and again, doing the years, right? So you got all the Hulit stuff, and this goes over to Bond. So it's Hulit, Bond basically. So Tank Girl trades through Titan. Great,
You know, I never
great.
watched the movie. Did you ever watch the Tank Girl
Oh
movie?
yeah, yeah.
Do you like
Tank Girl
it?
movie's fun, man. Jet Girl is Naomi Watts. That's Naomi
See,
Watts
that's awesome.
before she
You know,
became famous from Mulholland Drop. Naomi Watts on a lot of talk shows last week because unfortunately David Lynch passed. A lot of David Lynch stories this week, man. A
I
lot of really
know.
good David Lynch stories. Did you see the Nick Cage one? The Nick Cage
No,
story
no.
is that they were at some event. I think they were in Paris, and the whoever president or someone's wife wanted him to sing like Elvis, and he sings "Love Me Tender" in the movie. He sings a couple songs, a couple Elvis songs in Wild at Heart,
Right.
and David Lynch orders Nick Cage to sing and jump up on a table and just sing, and then they won the Palme d'Or or whatever. He thinks it's because of that, but for Wild at Heart, but he gets up and sings. But he called him Nickster, and he did a couple impressions. It was like, "Oh, Nickster, you gotta get up and do that." So there's a lot of
Yeah,
David Lynch impressions.
that's
Um,
funny.
yeah, and it's weird. Like on HBO, they have. I just don't know why. It's not that hard. These streaming sites are just so goofy, right? So HBO has things all over the place, right? So I was on HBO last night. I'm looking at stuff. They have Eraserhead up here. They have Inland Empire, right? They have Blue Velvet, Eraserhead. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I think there's one. There might be one other one. They have the Eraserhead, Blue Velvet, Dune, Inland Empire. So they have four. I guess maybe it's not enough. It looked kind of weird to just have that. Also, if you go on YouTube, someone posted his. It might be taken down now, but he had a masterclass. He did a masterclass,
Oh, nice.
and I saw a clip of him watching "It's a Wonderful Life," and when it ends, he's crying, like he's talking about every time he watches it, he cries. He's talking about Capra, and Capra had to almost like fight with Jimmy Stewart to do certain scenes. Jimmy Stewart's got back from the war. Talking about how important things was and put yourself here. That's why there's so many like really deep, like heavy Jimmy Stewart scenes because he was still in the war. He was still like over there. So there's
It's rough.
a lot of cool David Lynch stories of him knowing about film and then him talking about life. And so that's been really fun.
That's really interesting. You know, what's funny
Uh,
about Tank. The thing about Tank Girl, how we even started this was that I don't like
Iced
Lori
tea.
Petty's voice. I don't like Lori Petty's voice. Like I've never like for some reason it just like I don't have an aversion to sounds like not like nails on a chalkboard or rubbing a balloon. That stuff doesn't bother me.
But
But for some reason, I just don't
but
like.
Lori Petty's voice.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, so you're
and
so
like
you're talking like League of Her Own. You're just like, oh, like League of Your Own. You're troubled because that's Gina
you know what troubles me
Davis's
when she's
kid,
you know what it is? It's when she's
kid sister.
Livewire on Superman. Like it
Okay,
just doesn't fit. And the character Livewire was like a DJ, like a Howard Stern shock
right,
jock because she has electric powers.
right.
Um, and I'm like, I could not listen to a radio show that Lori Petty hosts.
Hmm.
And I don't dislike watching her. She was showed up on one of the seasons of Orange is the New Black, and I'm just like, oh, Lori Petty, there she is. I like her
Shut
performances.
off.
I just don't love. I don't know. And
Yeah.
maybe it's not even the movie. I think it was just the Superman appearances, just like rubbed me the wrong way. Like her voice
Right.
is too much for that show. The show's kind of calm and chill, and then she
Hmm.
comes in like hollering. I'm like, ooh. So
Yeah. Yeah, I would be due for rewatch of that. I mean, the Tank Girl soundtrack's great. I think I saw Tank Girl in the movies. I don't think me and Ron saw it. I'm pretty sure I saw that in the movies. I think me and W1 saw that. Pretty sure.
okay,
And also it's kind of weird. Like I didn't put it in there, but the Solomon Kane cover B is a Raphael Kayanan like painting, and Raphael Kayanan has did a ton of Conan. Savage Sword of Conan did Conan the Adventurer ongoing series. Had a Barry Windsor Smith style. So it's weird that again we like that the Titan really are embracing bringing back people. Jeff Fisherwood, pulling Liam Sharp over to do some stuff. But that is a Raphael Kayanan drawing, and I'm trying to think he also did something else. He do Atari Force. There's something else he did a long time ago too. He did some license work, but really good.
um,
I'm excited about
who
that.
who do we lose this week? What was the it was the Magnus Robot Fighter artist, right?
So Russ Heath,
No, the Valiant one, the Valiant Magnus artist. I think he had
Mike
passed.
Leake,
No, I
not
should have
split up.
brought it up. Should have brought it up since
Corrections.
I didn't. I know, but I saw that. I'm like, and it was only 63. I'm like, that's young, you know.
Hmm. I saw.
Um,
Yeah, there was something that was posted, but it was their birthday. So that was confusing. They had this thing. They had an old article and they were showing art, and I'm like, oh wow, that would have been cool to. And then it was like, oh, it was their birthday. It was Robert E. Howard's birthday the other day. There was a lot of cool posts of. There's also a really good. Is it Roberto Delatorre print that he's selling? That Titan is selling through this company, and the proceeds 100% go to the wildfires. It's really
that's
good. It's
cool.
pretty good Conan print. Pretty good. I don't know. I already have stuff I have to hang up, so I'm not buying. I'm on a purchase moratorium right now. So that's it. The news for me. That's it. That's it
I
for
think
me.
you touched on almost everything I wanted to talk about. Uh, I apologize. I was just trying to look up who that artist was that passed. But the credits on the Valiant book, I think, are at the end instead of the beginning. No, I don't have it. Wait a minute. Art Nichols?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah, because
Art Nichols.
there was an Art Nichols thing I was going to grab. It was Conan related too. I have a pin up and a seven sort of Conan. Art Nichols was, I believe, someone instrumental in Joe Quesada coming up too. Joe
Yes.
Quesada
No,
was
you're right.
by him.
Yeah. He's one of the people who
Joe
discovered Joe
Q.
Quesada. So, yeah, so that sucks 63, man.
Art Nichols
I,
inked the Ray miniseries. That
that's cool
was
too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
So,
that's it for
no,
news.
the one thing I wanted to bring up, and I just put it in the chat there for you to use the picture. It's Mark Miller posted on his Twitter. He's just like Wolverine, kick ass. Now this, like, it's the next John Romita. At first, I took it as almost like, is this a crossover? Like, but
Right,
then I'm
right.
like, oh no, it's more like an announcement of they're doing a book together. I think we had talked about it briefly before, but the announcement's not coming till April. Oh, it says coming spring 2025. So I guess they're going to announce something in the next couple months.
Pre-announce. It's a
So
pre-announce.
it
It's
doesn't
most
say where.
controversial. He says it's very controversial.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's going to be a Dark Horse book or a Marvel book, like an Icon. Like they are. So I don't know. Not Icon, but for me, I thought was exclusive to Marvel. That's how you get your benefits. But Ramita's also probably old enough to be on Medicare now. Not
You're probably
a
right.
joke. Just
Yeah.
he might. You don't need to be exclusive if you have Medicare.
Right, right, right.
So
Yeah. No, that's probably right.
so we'll see what that is. We'll see what the new Mark Miller book is. I know he's promised to do, like, he was talking about doing a Superman book for DC, like because he's such a big Superman fan. Like his dream book is like a Superman book, and then Marvel's like, because he has an opening in his contract to work on something else. He's a Netflix employee. He's got an opening, and Marvel's like, fuck them, do it for us. The heck with
Mhm.
DC, do it for Marvel. And so now he's got a huge Marvel idea, but like I don't know what that could be. But he's like, yeah, I could just do Superman when he is public domain,
Right.
like which is like still like 7 years away, 8 years away. I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
longer.
but I wonder if
I don't know,
but
95 years. So
I know it'd be really cool if he does the Superman book starts now with Frank Quietly, and then it'll be ready. It'll be ready in 7 years, in 7, 8 years when
you
it's
aren't wrong, but here's
no.
and here's the fun thing. People go, oh, we could all do Superman, you know, in 2033. I think 33, something like that.
Mm.
Yeah, 2033 we could do Superman. But people forget you can't touch anything. You can't touch Kryptonite, Jimmy Olsen, Daily Planet,
He can only jump.
any of his
Can't
villains.
fly.
Can't fly.
He just
I don't know
jumps.
if that's a yeah.
I
I
think
don't
he
know about that.
flies. I forget exactly when he flies. He
So
flies on radio drama or something. There's a lot of Superman continuity that is like non. I think Fleischer. There's stuff in Fleischer that technically was backwards adopted into comics. That's what's so cool about some of the Superman early continuity. There was some stuff in the radio drama that I think is created too, whether it
so
be like a character or something.
so if you are a creative type, okay, you can create a whole new Superman world and fill it with all your own stuff. You could either Alan Moore it with like, oh, it's not kryptonite, it's a leadite, or it's not. You could just change everything and make it like all analogies to that stuff. Or you can create your whole new universe. But if you're going to create a whole new universe, why would you limit yourself to calling your character Superman? Because now you can't make a. Can you go make a Superman movie if he's in public
Uh,
domain?
yeah,
But
because I think like poo, blood, and honey. That's poo. That's I don't know.
so
I don't know.
so we could get a Superman movie in 2033. You could do totally everything new. You could totally Alan Moore, like I said, or you could create your own stuff. Like, but at that point, why make it a Superman movie? Why not just have your own character? I probably shouldn't be.
Yeah, but I think that's been done. That's irredeemable. I feel like that's Supreme.
It is. It is. But
Hyperion.
like
Like I
nobody.
feel like that's it.
I don't know. It's interesting. We'll see what happens if we're still alive
I hope
in
so.
2033. I hope so.
I hope so. Uh,
In the
but who
far-flung
knows?
future. So, all
Yeah,
right. So that's interesting.
somewhat
I know
far flung.
Liefeld's got his Superman. I think he's already drawn pages of it.
Oh my God, he's drawing pages. He's drawing pages of everything. Just keep working on Youngblood. Youngblood, please.
He's working on 2 Youngblood books at once. He said,
And Last Blood.
and Last Blood.
Is Last Blood going to finish before Youngblood one comes out?
No, Last Blood #3 will come out before Youngblood.
Right.
And I don't know if he's got to tie them together or not, or just keep them separate.
Now you can print
But
Last Blood. I would say print Last Blood 2-3 years out. You know what I mean? The people who have it, and then
I
when
think he's going
it's
to put
time.
3 out, put out a collection, and then do Youngblood miniseries, and then maybe come back and do a couple issues. Like Last Blood, I think is an eternal project he wants to keep doing. So I think like in between Youngblood miniseries or whatever he does,
Hmm.
I just hope he keeps doing Youngblood. I always thought
Yeah.
the mistake of Extreme early on is I would have preferred Youngblood to be like as close to monthly as possible. I like the extra pages in it. I like having backups to launch other books, but I feel like those other book launches should have been in Youngblood. Like Supreme #1, Supreme fights Youngblood. Okay, that Liefeld inks. Like, wouldn't it have been better just have that in a Youngblood issue drawn by Liefeld completely, and then you launch the Supreme book?
Right.
Yeah. Or like Bloodstrike. I would have loved to have seen Bloodstrike show up, like the way Fantastic Four was. Fantastic Four is like, here's Fantastic Four. Also, here's Namor, bring it back. Here's Inhumans. Here's Galactus. Here's Silver Surfer. Here's Black Panther. Like, you just launched all of these things out of one book, and that's what I kind of wish Youngblood would have done. Here's Brigade early on. We don't like Brigade. We don't like Battlestone. Battlestone was a member. Here's our Death Squad Bloodstrike team. Here's like, it would have been cooler to see everything launch out of Youngblood. That's just me. And now we're really talking semantics of stuff that happened years ago.
Yeah.
33 years ago to be exact. That's what we do.
That's what we do.
Hindsight's 2020. I don't know what's better than 2020, but hindsight is that. And what I'm saying is, hopefully, this new Youngblood series, everything launches out of that.
Yeah. No, I would like that. I mean, I'm of two minds of it. I want the new stuff, sure, but I want like really good collections of old stuff. We're already ordered the Vault edition.
We ordered the Vault edition
of that. Mm-hmm.
We saw a solicitation for a new Youngblood reproduction of #1. Now, we think they're doing a facsimile edition also, but this might be.
Yeah.
It says recolored, and Bleeding Cool says it's recolored again. Like, they're insinuating that it's a new color, not the recolored stuff by Matt Yackey from the
scripting,
mid 2000s.
Casey scripting.
Yes, so they might recolor it again, and if anything, this book will look even better because the colors Liefeld has today
Yeah.
are just ridiculously talented. So to see like the Last Blood, if you got the Last Blood colorist to color Youngblood 1, that's something really neat.
Yeah, but I would want, I mean, it's basically what's kind of cool about it is that you now have the opportunity if you print Youngblood through or print it a certain way, you're going to have a more consistent coloring from there to there. But I don't, I
Well,
want,
he did do that
you
with the
know,
2006 or 8 edition.
mhm,
Like he had one guy come in and recolor 1, 2, 3, and 4, and Liefeld drew the new story for Youngblood 5. So it did happen. But like
mhm,
now he's got even better color. It's not going to say better. They're the more modern coloring. I'd love to see it recolored again.
mhm.
It's interesting. You know, he was going to get it recolored in the late '90s. He was going to rescript. Eric Stevenson was going to rescript Youngblood 1 through 4, and they were going to get it recolored by Kiko Takanashi. I think was going to color.
Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
which would have been
Because
neat. But that I don't know how far along that project got. See, Liefeld has
Kiko was
always kept.
6, right? Kiko was 6 and also Team Youngblood 9.
Yeah,
That sound right? Mhm.
Kiko's incredible. Um, yeah, so I would have liked to have seen that. I don't know. I'd like to have known if anything got done back then. That would have been interesting. I'm always curious about that. Like we know Liefeld has these 3 storage units, and one of them's like Raiders of the Lost Ark level crazy.
Let me in there. Let me in.
Let me in, dude. I'll help you sort it, organize it, whatever, dude.
Right.
Like let me in. Hold on one second. I just want to check something. Check something as we're slowly wrapping up this show because I need to know. Youngblood number 4 is colored by Steve Olaf and Ali Optics.
Ah, okay.
1, 2, and 3 are Brian Murray. I think 0 is Brian Murray. 4 is him.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, when he gets to 6, it's Kiko, I believe. So
Right, but we think 5 is Paul Mounts.
we think, yeah, the Chap Yap 5 is Paul Mounts because it's really dark. Paul Mounts is just a dark colorist. So yeah, I think that's it for the news. I don't think anything hit while we were talking for
Yeah, that's
this
it.
another
Yep.
2-hour show.
We'll wrap it
So
up. Stay
wrap it up.
tuned for Reviews Day. Lots of opinions on Reviews Day in history. We'll see everybody real soon.
Yep. Have a good week, everyone.